again to the glitchiest podcast on the internet, the Pixel Response Podcast. I'm your host, and with me, as always, is Nathan.
Hey!
Hello.
Hey,
Glitchin.
Yeah,
That's our term. Just like in the 90s, it was bitchin'. Now it's like glitchin'.
Yeah, because it's the internet age. So
that's right.
I'm Glitchin, hot new video, tribute to the original. Anyway. Hey. How have you been? It going? I'm doing good. This week's been interesting.
It's been an interesting week.
Yeah. There was a job interview at this little company you may have heard of.
Don't say the name.
I won't say the name, but thanks for looking out for me and helping me out on that front. So paperwork.
I think you should that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a lot of paperwork to start off, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like the new hire shit.
And I guess I was kind of a little I hope my competency at filling out this paperwork in no way reflects badly on what I then have to subsequently do as part of the actual job.
Right.
Because some of it's a little I hope I'm filling this out right. For a while, it was put the year in here, and it was Y-A, and I was confused. A is année in French, so never mind. You just write the year. There was nothing else that had to happen.
Yeah.
It was just, we're in a bilingual nation. I forget about that sometimes. But then M had nothing next to it, because I guess it's the same in French. So...
It must be. Yeah, you're right.
Or it also starts with an M, so they're just everybody gets this one. So then...
Was it D/J?
Yes.
Okay.
It was that. But yeah, the M was the one throwing me off, I guess, because it was the odd one out. It was yeah. So I was did they want something next to this as well, or do they want it in a specific format? What does this mean? But anyway, filling out stuff, that happened. That's not the highlight of the week exactly, but the whole process of new job, new horizons, new possibilities, that stuff is...
new podcast recording time, probably.
Probably.
Because of that, but we'll worry about that when we get to there.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge. I've started, answering some questions on the subreddit, which is happening again. That is.
I did see that. You did an AMA.
I did an AMA in our subreddit, because I knew that's where someone would care to ask questions, so... Yeah, I've been answering some stuff there. But yeah, this week's had a lot of film stuff that I've been happy about, and RPG stuff that I've been happy about. So those are probably
this week's been all video game for me. So
perfect. Do you ever play this game? This little gem called Chrono Trigger?
I have twice actually.
You finished that twice? You played through it a couple times?
I finished it once, but I played it the first time when I was a kid on the Super Nintendo. I didn't own it, so I didn't beat it. But then when it came out on DS, I had a long plane trip or something, so I just kind of played through most of it then, and then just picked away at it.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of been revisited. Well, I played it before on the PlayStation, which, as it turns out, is the worst version of that game.
Absolutely. Except it has anime cutscenes.
It does have anime cutscenes, but they put those in the DS version, so now you get best of both worlds.
That's right.
You get the fast loading times of the SNES and the cutscenes from the PlayStation version. Because, although I guess I'll preface by saying, I haven't played the iOS port, which I'm told is terrible, because the controls are totally broken.
Well, because it's an iOS port.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the reviews, and it was why is Chrono Trigger at 2 stars? And it was it's because of the controls, that it's really bad. So, yeah. But, yeah, so I played it a bit on the PlayStation. It has, crazy loading times. So it's, the whole overworld battle system of, you just get into combat right away. That is kind of ruined by the PlayStation, because it's, you activate all the enemies, and then there's, an 8-second lag, and then the battle starts. So getting in and out of battle is kind of super tedious in a way that does not help at all. In the intervening years, I don't know how long it's been, 7, 8 years or something, I apparently forgot, almost everything about that game's story and what's going on and the flow of it and all this stuff. So it was just kind of basically a brand new experience for me, which I've been generally enjoying. It's also kind of... I think we talked about this personally a bit already, but it's also been an opportunity for me to finally start looking at the Giant Bomb Endurance run of it, which was kind of a big chunk
with
of,
Ryan Davis.
with Ryan Davis. So
Yeah.
obviously this has become a very kind of sad, nostalgic experience for
Pour one out.
reasons. Pour one out.
Yep.
Man, it's also like this weird thing where like this game is really bringing me back to like junior high. Like kind of, I was playing a lot of JRPGs then, so it's just like friends
Yep.
that I was seeing a lot back then who I haven't seen in a while. Like it's just kind of conjuring up a bunch of emotions that's kind of layered over this kind of goofy sci-fi story, but not super goofy. There's some, you know, gravity there here and there. Like, dude, Lavos, I just found out something important about what that guy's all about.
Yeah.
The meteor that killed the dinosaurs. What?
Wait. Just out of curiosity, because you're kind of like meteor that killed the dinosaurs and blah, blah, blah. Have you never seen any of the story stuff in this game at all?
Past a certain point, no. I want to say
Okay.
I'm maybe getting to a point where I am now into all new stuff. Like, some of the early stuff, like, I guess I was talking to John earlier, like, maybe the first third of the game I know to some extent, and then after that point, I don't know what's going on. So
like, after you get Ayla from the prehistoric age?
Yeah,
basically?
I have her on my team. I've been to the Tyrannosaur, like, Tyranno lair, and Lavos, the meteor, just hit, and then I went to the Kingdom of Zeal, and just kind of powered up my pendant, so now I can finally open all those stupid doors and chests and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm basically revisiting kind of low-level areas and opening up a bunch of stuff and getting sweet gear. Like, dude, I got this thing that makes my MP consumption 75% less. That's awesome. And, like, one boosted my health by, like, half. So I put that on Frog. Now that dude has 771 HP. It's awesome.
So who's your team you roll with right now?
It seems to be the game is kind of encouraging you to go through a bunch of different characters because each one has their own kind of story, right? So it's like,
sure. When
I was fighting Magus, I needed to have Frog on my team.
Yeah, because of the history they have.
Yeah. So for that fight against Magus, I had Frog and Buka. And by Buka, I mean Luca, because Buka is the name in the endurance run. They put these on all the names. And I've been confusing them in my head. Luca, because she has a dope fire spell, and she was pretty good at helping me out. Buka. Yeah, it's Buka, Bobo.
Bobo,
Brog. It's stupid.
And Brono, right?
Yeah, Brono.
Isn't that why it started?
Yeah.
Because they made him Brono.
And they're just like, all right, well, we're just going to keep this joke going. My Chrono is named Krasno, which is pretty bad.
Oh my god.
Because it's a 5-character limit. And I was like, no, I'm staying with it. Like, it's Krasno. And it sounds kind of right. And also, it ends with no, so it's almost like the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Krasno.
Oh, no, Fox the Kid does not appreciate Krasno. I'm going to type it out for people just in case they don't know. It's Krasno. it's been the whole time.
Without the R.
Eventually, when you're playing, you just kind of don't notice it's weird. But, yeah. JRPGs. Yeah, so I've been revisiting low-level areas, which is a little bit tedious. But, yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it did. I was trying to type in Krasnor, and it wouldn't let that happen. So
right, because of the character limit.
AZNO. So 6-character limit then.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
So 6 limit, and that still doesn't let Krasnor happen. I've run into problems with that before, where that name is a little bit too long. So usually I go Kraz, but I was like, no, I'm going to end with no, because it fits.
Krasno.
Man, how long is this cutscene?
It's all of them. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, the Magus fight is pretty much this bit. I saw this a couple times because that dude.
Did you do the Magus fight yet? Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that's usually the point where people are just like, okay, this game requires more than just omni slashing or whatever his thing is over and over.
Yeah, like it's a little more involved fight. Like, I mean, they have like the jugglers and stuff before that where they switch from magic defense to physical defense.
That's child's play, though.
Yeah, compared to what Magus dishes out, which is like you basically need to have Frog continually hitting him to weaken his defense, and then being really mindful to what his current like shield is, and then it's like, okay, fire spell. Now Luca, can actually throw a spell at him. And eventually there's the whole charging up, and you can just dish out tons of spell damage and hope for the best when he actually unleashes that weird prism.
Right.
Yeah, that took basically it's like I didn't have anyone with like awesome enough healing stuff and cool attack magic, so I had to just go back to town, buy like tons of mid potions, and then head back into the dungeon. And then going out and then coming back in was basically kind of grinding, so I leveled up like 2 or 3 times. And I think on that trip, Frog learned Heal, which is an all-heal spell, which that helped me out a lot, and continues to, actually, in stuff I'm doing now. Yeah, actually, okay, so the last time I played it, I do remember I did the thing where Chrono switches places with Magus, essentially. So that's, I think, what we're seeing here. Or have seen, because this is a little bit lagged, but not too much. So I switched main characters, but I don't remember how that happened.
Okay.
That's Giannis, right?
Hmm?
Okay, I'm just like seeing stuff from the Kingdom of Zeal that I didn't know.
Know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm changing this right now. Keep talking.
Yeah, because it's going to start spoiling.
We're going to get into some spoiler territory for you specifically, not for everybody else in the chat who probably has played the game years ago.
Well, okay, I could have scrolled down or something, but that was getting dangerous. I've seen that before, but it was years ago, so I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Let's stop there.
Okay,
with the video.
Chrono Trigger is stirring up some kind of nostalgia for just that era of games and that kind of JRPG lust I had for a while there. And it also seems like a really cool port of it. And actually, I am enjoying comparing it with the Endurance Run stuff, because they're playing the SNES version. So you're actually getting to see like a direct contrast of like, oh, they actually changed the translation of this. They changed this enemy's name. They changed like the little things here and there. And it's also kind of fun to see them get stuck in the exact same areas sometimes. Of just like, I missed that prompt too, and ended up just going to dinosaur times because I thought it would be cool. And nothing important happening there. In fact, I like fought through basically an entire dungeon and went to the top of this mountain, and there was nothing for me. And it's just like,
right, because you weren't supposed to be there yet.
I got some cool helmet or something that I wasn't supposed to have yet, or like some sort of armor. But yeah, like just weird kind of missing the cues. Like it's a pretty linear story for at least the most part. Like for a good chunk of it, it's basically like heavy hint, you should go here next anyway, and then you can kind of go to different time periods and do whatever, but it's easy to lose the plot thread if you start wandering around too much. So yeah. But yeah, generally pretty happy with that. I put about 10 hours so far. And yeah, just after that Tyranno lair stuff, so I don't know how far in that is for the whole story, but
for the whole story,
probably
a third, maybe a quarter. It's a pretty long story.
That's kind of what the vibe I was getting off of what John was saying. He's played it a few times, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, I'm happy for that to be kind of my new portable gaming experience for the time being.
It's a long one too. You picked a good one to waste time with.
Yeah, so. And that I'm basically seeing it happen twice by watching someone else play the whole game, too. Like, that's been kind of, like, it's basically I'll play ahead a lot and then catch up the episodes, for the most part, except there was one point where I was just straight up stuck with that dinosaur thing. So then I was watching what they did, and then they saw the prompt to go to the medieval age, and I was like, oh, okay. I was basically... Like, I felt I should check on the medieval time period and see if that bridge has been fixed yet, but, like, in that time hub, there was no portal to that time period, so I was just like, well, that's stupid, so I guess I'll just go to this other one that I haven't been to yet. And, no, you're supposed to go to the original time gate that you went back to that time period to for some reason. I guess I don't like some of the stuff where it's like, hey, you need to go visit Specchio in order for this character to have magic. Like, Frog didn't have magic, so I had to go out of this dungeon, talk to this dude, and then go back into the dungeon, now equipped with magic. Basically, that was the Magus thing. I actually made 2 trips. I left, got him magic, went back in, almost, like, figured out the pattern, realized I didn't have enough potions, went back out, came back in. Like, it was just kind of grindy stuff for like an hour and a half there. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, like in that way, I'm kind of wondering if this is just like because I have this history of playing games like this, like I can deal with that kind of tedious stuff. Like this seems like that's the kind of thing that might put off some players of just like, wait,
a newer generation of gamers.
Yeah, or it's
maybe.
just like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
I need to run through and do this all again? Fuck that, I'm moving on to something else. And you're just like, oh, okay.
I could see that, actually.
You know? Yeah. And, yeah, like, just kind of, I'm in the habit of you talk to every NPC, you poke around, and it'll work out. Like, I just know that's how it's supposed to work. Whereas if someone's like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to talk to that guy. It's like, well, had you talked to him yet? You have to talk to everybody. It's like, why would that matter? It's like, that's how these work. I don't know. That's just how the stories are told. But yeah, so Chrono Trigger. South Park. I've been playing a lot of that copy of South Park you lent me. I guess we'll go with that.
Quote unquote.
That's sort of what's happening.
So how are you enjoying yourself? First of all, you have to admit that I was right. It plays a lot better than you would think, and it actually grabs you, even if you're not a South Park fan.
Yeah, I consider myself a reasonable South Park fan. It's just kind of I've tempered a bit in the last couple of years.
There's a game there, though, right? Like,
kind of reconjures up all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good bunch of South Park content. I guess the kind of weird thing that, like the same way we talked about having a TV show that both of you are watching so you can't watch it without somebody kind of thing.
This is that game now?
Well, it's kind of the opposite, where it's like Brittany wants to play it, so I can't spoil it, so I can't play it when she's around.
Gotcha.
So it's like finding time where Brittany's not here and Paul isn't playing his games. It's
right.
Weird. Yeah. But it's fine. Like
you're juggling two different people right now.
Yeah,
basically.
Where it's kind of like I would have finished this game by now, I'm pretty sure, if I was just left to my own devices, like if this was circa 2008 or something. But
yeah,
whatever. It's okay to kind of savor it and make it last a bit longer.
You know, the plus side about this whole new job thing is that we will very rarely ever be home at the same time. In fact,
shared
I don't think we won't ever be home at the same time.
That's true. Like, there was the one day, and that's actually the day we're both there. So we're at the same place at the same time, but not
home.
Home playing Steam games. So, yeah.
Right.
That's a strange thing. It's a little weird seeing someone else's main character, because my dude has looked pretty different than this guy, but...
Yeah, my guy looks cool, this guy doesn't. But anyways, continue. How far are you so far?
Just after the abortion clinic, which was... Okay. Kind of some of the most gross stuff I've ever had to do.
Christmas time comes once a year.
Like,
yeah, it's so
I don't know. It was like, honestly, I was thinking back to kind of some game podcasts and stuff I listened to, and people kind of getting a little cold feet about the Grand Theft Auto 5 training, like, torture thing. And it's just like, okay, like, you had problems with that, whereas I didn't. But now I'm having, like, ooh, grossed out. I can't believe I had to do that kind of stuff with some of the things in this game. Specifically, there's a bit with Randy. And when that goes wrong, that sequence, it's horrifying. And I hated it. It was gross.
It's so good.
It's so gross.
It's so good. It's so good.
Like, and then I failed it, like, so many times, so I had to keep doing it. And it kept screwing up in the exact same way. And it was just like, oh, no.
So you are officially, I would say... 3/4, maybe a little bit less, 2/3.
Okay.
Maybe.
Just when we were talking before, I was led to think that I was almost done because I was like post day, like onto day 2 kind of stuff.
No,
and
you're not.
It was like
the alien thing that you were talking about or whatever.
Yeah,
that's halfway. That's
so like, dealing with the Taco Bell situation is the rest of the game, but that's a big thing.
Let's not get more specific about that, but yeah, the Taco Bell situation.
The Taco Bell situation needs to be dealt with, and kind of mustering your forces and all this stuff. And yeah, no, it's definitely been fun. I've been kind of doing a lot of the side stuff for the most part. Apparently, I've missed a bunch of Facebook friends already. Like, there's a couple that are missable, and I've probably missed some, so I'm not going to get that achievement. But it's Steam achievement, so I don't really care. I'm just going to kind of enjoy seeing what I can. And yeah, playing that prompted us to kind of look at the Game of Thrones kind of episodes that lead into this.
The 3-story arc.
Yeah, the console wars kind of stuff, which that was kind of fun, just seeing them riff on kind of that fantasy stuff, and also holiday shopping.
Black Friday consumerism, and the console wars.
Yeah. There were some fun things in there, and Game of Thrones stuff in general about George R. R. Martin kind of putting off the big payoffs to an absurd degree of just like, don't worry, the zombies and dragons are coming. It's just like, okay, but when? Oh, don't worry about it. It's coming. And then classic wiener jokes. And Butter's big problem with the show being like non-threatening, not gay, not erect wieners, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know, fun stuff. Hadn't watched the show in a while, so that was a fun trio of episodes. Not the season finale though. I didn't see that one. That is something about Butters, but I don't know. There's more episodes to be seen, I guess. Yep. And strangely, all of my IP address hiding trickery that lets me watch Netflix from other places, watch like network shows on their websites, does not work with South Park. They still have Terrence and Philip or whatever telling me to go to some other website, and that website was down. So I don't know what to do. We had to turn to less legal means. So sorry, Matt and Trey, I guess. I don't know. You guys should lighten up about that maybe, or whoever's in charge. I don't know. Comedy Central?
I'm pretty sure they're fine with it. I think it's Comedy Central putting the stop on that.
Yeah, that's kind of silly, but
yeah.
Cool game though. So yeah,
or we could just move down to the States.
We could, yeah. I guess we could just move to a different country. Where
since you're technically employed with the same company now as me, we could get a transfer maybe.
I did see at some point in that material. It's like, oh, interesting, different. I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess we can't get into too much specifics.
You will take an almost 100% pay cut though, because they get paid less at the other stations than we do.
Really?
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, I talked to some people in like San Fran and LA before about like how much they're roughly making or whatever, because we work for the same company, and they're like $8 an hour. Just like $8 an hour. How are you living? Like, how are you doing this? They're out in the sun all day doing stuff and whatnot, and like this,
and in like more
weather.
Expensive communities, even, isn't it? Like, that sounds terrible.
Oh, I'm sure they don't live in expensive communities.
No, but I mean, like, just if you're in San Francisco inherently, kind of thing, right? Los Angeles, like.
From what I hear, though, when people talk about living in San Francisco, people that say they live in San Fran don't live in the city. That's ridiculous.
In neighboring communities and commute there?
Like the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's lower income areas down around there?
No, there's different little, like, districts or whatever that are cheaper. Like, they don't live inner city. They live about, like, half an hour out of the city sort of thing, and just go in every day. Which, it would be like the equivalent of, like, we lived in Airdrie, and there was, like, a train that goes out to Airdrie into inner Calgary.
There is a commuter bus or something, right?
The BART, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean for us? Between Airdrie and Calgary? There is.
I'm sure there is.
Yes. But, there is. I've taken it before. It sucks.
Oh, okay.
Because they only leave at certain times during the day, and if you miss it, you're fucked.
It's just like, no, there isn't another one for the day.
Oh, and each ticket is $10.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, that is. But yeah, so South Park, Chrono Trigger. I'm trying to think if there was. That's kind of it for video game stuff for me. What have you been playing? You said you were playing a lot?
Oh, man. I stuck to my word.
Okay.
And I purchased Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z or Z. And I played 2 hours or so of it on stream. And that game is pretty terrible. It's amazing some of the dialogue and some of the like written stuff in that game that got through like common sense or editors or anything like that.
Okay.
It is essentially like a 13-year-old prepubescent kid wrote this character. So the story is you're playing Yaiba, who was killed by Ryu Hayabusa, the Ninja Gaiden guy, and you get brought back to life as a cyborg, basically, and there's been an apocalypse, and your main goal is to kill Ryu and, like, kill everything on your way there.
Okay.
See that yawn right there? Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That was just oxygen and stuff. But yes.
It's a zombie slasher game. But the animation style grates on you after a while. First of all, it kind of looks like kind of neat the first time you see it or the first few times you see it or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But then you realize... but then you realize that, like... The reason why Borderlands and stuff looks decent is because it's very cleaned up. Like, it's kind of a animated, like, grungy world they put together, but it doesn't look like complete garbage. Mm-hmm. Whereas this just kind of looks like garbage, polished up, and then after a while you see through that facade and you're like, no, this is just garbage. Like, it just kind of sucks.
It's not even polished, you just kind of faked it.
Kind of. Like, a lot of it looks like cleaned up storyboards. A lot of the gameplay and stuff, and that's kind of gross. But
and this is a $60 title. Like, it is
a $60 title.
Like,
this came
when I
right
saw it,
out
I was
of
like,
the Pixel Response money for science.
Yep. For, like, weird, bad game that no one will stream, probably, maybe. But, yeah.
Yeah. But,
so the writing... is it, like...
A lot of terrible puns. A lot of terrible double entendres, sexual innuendo, just dumb stuff.
Stiff.
like him saying, like, fuck and stuff like that. It's just so weird that this is a Ninja Gaiden game, because in Ninja Gaiden there's an elegance to the design in that I was saying this during the stream actually, that every single fight against another ninja feels like a mini boss battle or a boss battle, because they are countering you, they're running away, they're striking when you're open. Every single thing that you do in a Ninja Gaiden game requires a finesse that makes you feel like you've accomplished something every time you fight somebody, giving you the feeling that you are Ryu Hayabusa, you are like this ninja going through...
There's like a depth to the combat and the systems and whatever. It's
right, so let's talk about this Ninja Gaiden game. Bunch of zombies start crawling towards you, and you kill everything.
You press X a lot, and it kills them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, this guy's at a 50-hit combo, and it doesn't look like there's a lot going on.
There's nothing.
Around.
To be fair, this is the very, very beginning we're looking at right now. Sorry to anybody not watching the video, obviously. But just to describe what's going on, basically, is a whole bunch of zombies were coming towards a dude, and he was pushing buttons and killing them all. You're not missing much. It stays like that for most of the game. You do fight harder and harder enemies to the point where there's a weird spike in difficulty, even like on a normal difficulty, where it's like, I've been doing nothing but kind of mashing buttons and killing all these zombies, but now I have to counter these special zombies that move weird and have weird timing. It's like, where the fuck did that come from? There was no lead up to that. There was no, like, gradual difficulty increase. It was just like, smash buttons. Okay, now you have to do finesse. And the controls aren't very good to doing that, because there's a weird animation priority where if you're in the middle of a slash, you can still get hit, and they can, like, combo you. So you can't block unless you're basically already ready to block, sort of thing. So you kind of have to wait for them to come up to you, see their little tell, and then push the block button right before they hit you, because even if you push it too early, you'll just block the attack and you won't counter it, leaving them open for more attacks. So the Ninja Gaiden finesse is still there, but it's with sloppily implemented controls and bad timing, and just kind of like the bad art style and look of it makes it hard to see where you are on the screen at all times, especially when there's mass chaos, and it's really hard to see the enemy tells. So it's basically like playing Ninja Gaiden with a bunch of zombies thrown into the game and then somebody smearing mud in your eyes. And it's like, so like, you can still mash buttons and kill all the zombies, but when that one ninja type guy comes up that you have to counter, and then that opens him up for attack, like you're trying to get mud out of your eyes.
It also, like, I don't know, this bit here looks like the camera's zoomed in a little too tight or something with some of the stuff. It does.
Yeah, the camera control is pretty non-existent, but honestly, it's not a huge deal in the game.
Okay.
That isn't a problem.
Okay.
If we want to get down to like the dialogue and the writing and stuff like that, I mean, I'm not going to read it again, but I read that thing to you last week. It keeps up with that tone throughout the whole game. Like
sexism in the game.
The main person talking to you is a luscious redhead who shows too much cleavage. And
Miss
like
Monday?
sexual innuendos. Miss Monday. Yep, that's her.
Just I typed in Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z and she was like the first thing. So good job, Tecmo.
Right.
Out there.
Obviously what they were going for, but this plays much more like a bad God of War than a terrible Ninja Gaiden. So if like you wanted a bad God of War game, this is probably the game for you, but I might just go back to Dante's Inferno.
For that? It's like you know, I kind of want a God of War, but like not good. And with zombies, does that exist? It's like it does.
Yeah, it's called Dante's Inferno. But anyways,
but that has devil dick in it. It's crazy. No one would have expected that. So
there is a lot of like sexual talk in this too. It's
okay.
It's just fucking stupid. It is so dumb. This game is not worth $10, let alone $60. This is one that people should be staying away from if all possible.
Okay. So you took the bullet on that one. Let people know, hey, stay away. This one's no good. Meat slapper. I get it. That's pretty good.
Masturbation.
I get it.
Jokes. Yeah.
Is some of the navigation stuff as brain dead simple as like I was kind of like what I played in the demo was kind of almost felt like just press A. A little thing flashes, press A, and he's just kind of launching.
No, that's exactly what it is. It doesn't even have to flash. If you just keep pushing A, you'll probably get through the part.
Yeah, it just felt like really not.
You know, ninja shit.
I guess so, but like some of the ninja stuff in Ninja Gaiden on Xbox that I remember was kind of like, you know, wall jumping up to places, and some of the traversal was actually kind of challenging, but kind of fun. You know, like his crazy jump, like triangle jumps kind of up a wall. Is there nothing like that? Is it all kind of pre-canned animation stuff?
Pre-canned.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yaiba. Don't even worry about it. It actually isn't in stores now. You can't even get it, so don't.
It is on Steam, though, so beware. You might be thinking you're getting a decent Ninja Gaiden game. Just make sure it doesn't have a Z at the end, and you'll probably be okay.
There you have it. So, a couple hours there. Was there some other kind of...
Couple hours there. Yeah, I played a Scapegoat, too.
Okay. How is that? Yeah. I like the Scapegoat 1. So...
It's a Scapegoat.
Okay.
There is nothing more to say.
Music?
Music's very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Music is extraordinary. The art style still looks like it was ripped out of an XNA title.
Really? Like, it looks more kind of less pixely. It looks more drawn.
It looks less pixely, it is more drawn, but it still looks very amateurish.
I like very kind of tile-based.
It makes me sad to say that. But, like, in HD, it doesn't look as good as it should. I don't think. Okay. If you're going into a puzzle game, though, expecting it to look great, your priorities might be a little bit mixed up. Because what it does, it still does very well. That is the like puzzle platformy type thing where the room moves around based on what items you activate or switches and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the new mechanics they added for the mouse are pretty fantastic. So before we had the hat and that was it, right?
Like switching between them and everything?
The hat would switch the goat and the mouse, mouse's position. Now the mouse, there is a necro mouse that he can turn into.
Okay.
And he basically is able to summon 4 mice, so you have 4 mice that you can like position and move around in the level to get past stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is a tiny hammer, and that turns the mouse into a block, which is used to traverse some stuff and to hold down some stuff and to kill some enemies. Like, they've added enough in this game that I feel it is actually a sequel, because it is very much the same type of game that we knew and loved from the first Scapegoat, but with added mechanics and more puzzles to really sink into, sort of thing. Like, it's a whole new game. Okay. It's not just kind of like DLC, like new puzzle packs or anything. It feels very different, but not in a bad way, because it still controls pretty tight. Mm-hmm. It still doesn't control beautifully, but who cares? Like, all you have to do is jump and like dash.
Like a little stiff, kind of, with some of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, I played a couple hours of that, and that game seems pretty long. I put in about the same amount of time I put into Scapegoat 1, and I'm probably about halfway through it. So It feels at least double as long. And, how much are they selling it for now? 10 or 15? I got it 10. On sale.
Okay, for $10, it was like 8 on sale with the launch or something, but yeah.
Right. So for $10, it's a good buy. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's the best buy.
Well, I mean, the first one I paid like $1, so I felt like, oh man, this is great for what I paid. This is a deal.
Yeah, but, that's the thing too, is that when this goes on sale for like $3 to $5, it will be a very good buy. As it is right now, if you're not looking for a puzzle platformer type of thing, this you can probably wait. I would say. If it goes ever up at all, like if it was $15, that would be a no sale right away.
Okay.
At $10, if you are in the mood for a puzzle platforming game that is very good and probably will keep you happy with it for a while, then I would say go ahead. You're not going to lose any money, or like you're not going to get frustrated with your purchase on this. I've been wanting to maybe talk to oh my god, what's his name now? Ian? I can't even remember. I've been wanting to see if we can talk to Ian again, but I'm sure he's very busy right now. I'd like to see what he thinks about his own game. But
yes, but we've talked to Magical Time Bean before on Indie Talks, so check out that episode if you haven't. I like that he talked numbers. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
that's why I want to talk to him again, because I want to hear how the numbers kind of match up now with a higher like price game sort of thing, more work put in, but also he's asking for like 1,000 times the original price for the first one.
What, 10 times, isn't it?
What was he asking again? Yeah, that's right.
$1 to 10, but yes, substantially more.
Well, no, because 100% would be one extra dollar.
So 1,000%. Yes.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes, exactly. No, that's fine. Yeah. That was an interesting talk about like kind of the Xbox Live marketplace, like the indie marketplace, and then transitioning to PC and all that. So, is this only on Steam? Is this on other stuff, or?
I think they're selling it through their site, through Steam and Desura.
But I mean, it's like computer only. It's not on PS4 or something. Or...
No.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I mean, you could probably check it out, you know.
I did. I installed it just now. Somehow, Goat Simulator has been getting a lot of talk. I'm seeing it in the chat right now. I haven't played it, but is this just another kind of surgeon simulator? It's bad but funny kind of thing.
You play a goat. You're a goat.
But like in the description I saw, it was like there's weird physics glitches and stuff in it, but they're embracing that, which sounds kind of like the surgeon simulator thing of it. It's broken. We're bad at making games, but it's funny, so that's cool, right?
Also, to answer the question, am I going to get Goat Simulator? I am probably probably holding out for Bear Simulator.
Is that a thing they're making? Or what
that is a thing. Their description of it, it's Skyrim, only as a bear.
That's probably not accurate, but okay.
It probably is the most accurate title, or like the description for a video game ever penned on the internet. However, it is essentially going to be a game where you play a bear. So, I'm pretty sure kind of, maybe. They're on Kickstarter right now, and for $20, I can make it so when I get the game, my bear will have sunglasses. I don't know how I can pass that up. Because it's $15 to, like, essentially pre-order it, quote-unquote, through Kickstarter, where you back them, you get a copy of the game when it comes out, sort of thing. For $5 extra, you get sunglasses? Yes. Just yes. There is no other answer to that question. What do you think about simulators, Nathan?
I've been a little underwhelmed by some of the buzzed about simulator. Like, specifically, Euro Truck Simulator 2 got a lot of talk. And maybe I just need a racing wheel or something, but playing that game with just kind of keyboard and mouse or like a gamepad on a TV was not a very good experience. Like, it's just the UI and stuff is not designed for you to be able to read it in a television setting. Which,
right.
that I guess, hey, it's a PC game or something. That's not guaranteed, but I was a little, I don't know, not as like, wow, this is so deep and interesting and awesome. It was just kind of like, yeah, you drive the truck to the place, and I tipped over. And
okay. There's a few things on John's Steam list that I've been wanting to try, and it's that warehouse simulator.
Oh, okay.
If it is in fact a simulator, I will be pretty damn good at that game.
Warehouse and logistics simulator. Like, if they do their job right, that's your wheelhouse. Like, you should know what's going on.
And then there's an expansion or something to it called, like, Warehouse of Hell Simulator. And it's just like, hell, bitch, you don't know where I work. This ain't shit. Unless it's actual, like, demons and stuff. Then maybe.
Yeah, like, it's not saying it's that bad. You're just shipping stuff to demons. And getting...
No, you are shipping, you're shipping demons to demons? Or would you ship, like, blood and teeth to demons?
I'm saying, like, you'd ship, like, weird skull goblets and stuff to demons. Because they need those. And, like, weird bone thrones to Satan.
What would be scarier to you working in a warehouse? Shipping bones, teeth, and blood to demons? Or shipping drugs to cartels?
Strangely, the second one is probably scarier. Because it's just like, whatever. The demons just pay their bills and they get their skull goblets. The cartel, like, I don't want to screw those guys over or even have it perceived that I did. Because then horrible things will happen. And they're humans. They're totally irrational. Like, demons, as far as I know, kind of play fair. Just as long as I'm not selling my soul, it's fine. So, yeah, probably I'd take the skulls job.
Okay, what if you had to ship your soul in the skull to the demons?
I wouldn't want to do that. That's terrible. So I guess in that terrible situation, I'd probably go with the cartels, but I'd probably also be trying to get a line on some witness protection kind of stuff as best I could.
I think I would work at Tim Hortons if that started becoming the norm.
Oh, like, it's like the only jobs available are demon shipment or drug shipment. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to just work at Tim Hortons then.
You know what? McDonald's is sounding pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I balked at working at Walmart before. Compared to this, not that bad. I mean, they have movies, so I'll take it.
What if the Walmart was owned by demons?
I don't know now.
Would you rather work for a demon directly under them as, like, they are your superior? Or would you rather work for a demon in that you are shipping blood, teeth, bones, and your soul to them?
Okay, mine is the soul thing. Like, if demons are just customers in this scenario, I'd be more okay with that than working for one.
Okay.
So, yeah. But the soul thing, that's a little weird. Like, that's asking a lot. I'd probably, I'd read through my hiring package very carefully and not sign that form. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You probably have a pretty good point there.
Yeah. Just, read what you're getting into. You gotta know. And it's like, okay, ho, come on. You can't slip this in as just another memo. Like, this one's a little more serious. Come on. That's like, yeah, you got me. I was trying to own some more souls. But, yeah, Walmart.
Anyways,
maybe run by. Anyway, yeah.
How do you feel about slaying demons?
I've slain some demons before. Like, I don't know if any of the weird dragon monsters and weird stuff I've been fighting in Chrono Trigger count as demons, but there's some living skeletons and stuff. It's kind of weird, right? But yeah, I've slain some demons. I enjoy slaying demons. Did you slay some demons?
I've been playing Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls.
Okay.
The expansion. And that game has me so firmly by the balls that I cannot play anything else right now.
Okay, I wasn't sure what that meant for a second. Like that made it sound like
it basically means I shipped a bunch of my bones and soul to the demons, who are Blizzard, and they have me again. With the addition of the Crusader class and all of the changes they've made that game a fantastic experience, and I am more than happy to sink all of my life into it.
So they've totally fixed Diablo 3. It is now top tier, balanced.
The demons won, and you know what fixed it is that they got rid of that god awful auction house. So by getting rid of the auction house, I think what they were trying to do before is that you would get random drops. Like as my wizard, I would always get drops for the barbarian or the witch doctor or the demon hunter, and I would never fucking get anything for my wizard. So every time I was going through different levels and stuff, I felt weak, like I was progressively getting weaker, and then I would find one more item and I would be leveled out and I'd be mediocre sort of thing, and it was kind of a slag to get through anything. And I think the reasoning behind that is because the auction house wasn't just like, oh no, this is something you can use, this is part of the game. Like, for you to have a good time, that thing you got for the barbarian, throw that up on the auction house, somebody else will want it, and then when they pay you the fake money for it, or the real money, whichever, you can get something for your wizard. And that is complete bullshit. When you're doing a game like Diablo, and you are focusing all your gameplay on economics in a system that doesn't work because of hackers, first of all, because of idiots, second of all, and mainly just because of the internet, you fucked up your game. So when they took out the auction house completely, guess what started happening? I'm starting to get drops for my class, and I'm starting to level up appropriately. I'm starting to feel just as strong or stronger than everything I'm trying to take on, and it doesn't feel like I just consistently die for nothing, because my character is progressing through the levels the way a character should progress through fucking levels in a video game.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah, so
that does sound like it was pretty tedious before. So you were just getting all sorts of junk not for you that you were supposed to sell?
And it wasn't very often either. Now, at least every single boss fight, I've basically gotten a legendary for my class that helps me along through the next, 3 level, lower levels of the next area.
Mm-hmm.
So, as of right now, I'm playing a Crusader class. The Crusader is the best class in that video game, and I don't care what anyone else says. It's true. That character is the funnest I've had in one of these games in a long, long time, and that includes Path of Exile, which I've had a great time with. That includes both Torchlights, which I've had great times with, and that even includes Diablo 2. I haven't had this much fun playing this type of game since Diablo 1, when it was brand new.
Jeez, that's like a decade and a half legacy that just got wiped out by Diablo 3.
Yeah.
So, alright.
Pretty much. So
cool.
I'm having a great time with it. My Crusader is going through hard difficulty right now and is caught up to my wizard that took hours through normal difficulty to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is just going peachy. I'm loving the story again. I'm loving the background music and going through and just jumping into the middle of 20 fucking demons and just taking them all out with my hammers of justice rotating around, doing fiery and electrical weird damage and all this other weird bullshit that only Blizzard could do. And every part of it has felt like a new experience that I haven't felt in a long time. So, props, I guess.
How much was the expansion?
It is, I think it's $30 for the normal.
Okay.
And $60 for the collectors, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Does the collectors just toss in the core game, or what is in there?
The collector's edition just gives you some random other shit for that and for all the other Blizzard stuff. And since I play every single Blizzard game out there that's big, why wouldn't I get the collectors?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's $60. And these games only... Except for this last year where these games have been pretty consistent, these games only really fucking come out once every 5 years, so whatever.
Alright. I haven't played a Blizzard title extensively in a long time, but
yeah.
Okay.
They're still very good at what they do, which is polishing something with their infinite money and resources until it's very good.
Yeah. is Hearthstone like different enough than anything else that it's kind of like, hey, they did a new thing, or is it?
Yeah, it's a card game. When have they ever done a card game?
Wasn't there a WoW like actual card game, or
it's basically that, but an electronic version, and it's free.
Okay.
So if you wanted to play Blizzard game, that's free. You could just make an account and then download it.
I think I did. Hold on. Yeah, there's a Hearthstone link right here. Look at that.
There you go. We could play together, and by together I mean against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Free content for the site.
Yeah,
you at like
Hearthstone battles.
You with like your 10 cards, and me with like the ones I've built up through the last 6 to 8 months. Well, that'll be great content.
Well, yeah, their balancing probably takes care of that, though, right?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, yes, in a way, where if you're a decent enough player and know enough about the game and how things work, you can go all the way with basic cards and crafting cards with like the free cards you get.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that catch-22 of you have to have played the game enough to know enough about what you need in your deck, what you want, and what the meta is, like what other players are doing.
Right. So you could do well with a low deck, but I don't know the stuff yet, so
like that's what YouTube I guess is for, but it would take more time learning through YouTube videos probably than just going out there playing, losing a whole bunch, and then like trying different stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so a whole bunch of Diablo. Was that pretty much the rest of your gaming time, or did anything else fit in there?
Oh, there was one more. 10 minutes of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes.
Oh, shit. So you beat it then?
Yeah, basically. Okay, I have to say one thing. That game isn't Metal Gear Solid because Snake's not in it. Sorry, guys. We were all tricked. Snake's not in it.
All I got Big Boss is in it, or you're saying
all I got this guy with a fucking eye patch that talks like Keifer Sutherland. I didn't get Snake. So, sorry, guys. Game's over. The world's over.
Keifer. Okay, the one thing I heard this week that kind of made me actually be like, okay, no, the idea that David Hayter will be in the next one totally does make sense. Basically, just because they didn't want to have David Hayter talking to David Hayter, because that would be stupid looking. So they had to cast someone in a different role, and they went with Big Boss instead of the guy. Does that sound feasible?
No. I think
like you'd prefer just David Hayter speaking to David Hayter and them trying to play it super serious.
Dude, he was a clone.
I know,
Snake was a clone.
It should be that, but I'm thinking like, man, how goofy would that scene be if it's just like, you know, that gruff, gravelly voice going both ways? I don't know.
Do your best David Hayter Snake voice right now. Because I bet you it's better than Keifer Sutherland.
Like, what do you... Just the, like, Metal Gear? Like, just that thing? He doesn't even say it.
You know what? That actually wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I gotta give you some props. That was better than Keifer Sutherland.
Well, he doesn't even say, like, iconic stuff. I guess he does the one where it's like, kept you waiting, huh? But he says it, like, bad. So, yeah. It's just like, kept you waiting, huh? And it's just like, no, you didn't, Keifer Sutherland. Yeah, we already had this. So you agree, Keifer Sutherland kind of doesn't own it at all in the role.
No. He sucks.
Okay. Did you do the healing thing I talked about with, like, the kind of thing? Because that's...
No.
It's really bad.
No, I basically infiltrated the compound and started popping guards and then got bored a little bit because I was wanting to, like, I knew what time it was, we had to start this, but I was just kind of like, I just want to play more Diablo, so I took my silencer off and just started shooting up in the air and seeing how many guys I could kill before they killed me.
Yeah, I did.
Answer was
did that
5.
The first time I played it, too. I was just like, how many dudes can be killed with the combat mechanics now? And it turns out, like, 27 or something. Like, it was like, I killed a lot of dudes and then died and decided to restart the mission and actually try to do stuff. And yeah, like, I mean, the final time where I completed the mission was like 40-some minutes, but it was probably about an hour of messing around in total.
Okay.
But for that first mission, which is kind of the thing people keep considering to be the whole game, which...
I hear there's, like, way more after that.
there's so much kind of additional side content and like you unlocking the tapes and stuff, and yeah, like I don't know, it's prompted like some articles. Like I think there was one on Polygon that was basically kind of like, is the whole idea of replaying a level just dead in people's minds? Like, no, I beat the level, so I'm done. And you're just like, no, you can go back to that level and do different stuff. And you're just like, no, but I beat it. Like, is that what's happening? Like, are people just kind of like, I saw the credits roll, that is the end of the video game. And you're just like, but it says 10% next to your save. Like, that's not 100%. There's 10 times more things in the game. And it's just like, for some reason, that is not compelling people to go back to it. And honestly, like, outside of like that first few days where I was playing it, I haven't really gone back to it either. So it is kind of maybe missing some of the magic, because what I go to a Metal Gear story, like what I go to a Metal Gear game for, is an absurd, long-winded, ridiculous story, and this has like very little of that content. It has way more kind of, we figured out how to balance this gameplay area to be kind of cool, and we want you to go do different stuff in it. And it's just like,
doesn't change.
It's like, we made a sandbox for you, is kind of what they did. And it's just like, I don't ever come to you guys for sandboxes, so this is kind of a strange.
What they made was a third-person shooter, a third-person military shooter, and you know what? It's fine. It plays fine. It still has a Metal Gear feel. The problem is Snake's not in it. That's the only problem I'm having right now.
Yeah.
Is that just straight up Big Boss, Snake, Solid Snake, Naked Snake, Jack. I don't care what you call them. They're not in it.
It does kind of really take the wind out of the sails in a way. Like, there was honestly, like, with Acid and Acid 2 and Portable Ops, like, I think it was Portable Ops. Anyway, with some of those, like, I basically couldn't bring myself to play them because it's like there's no voice acting in it. Like, David Hayter's not in it. This isn't scratching that itch, so I don't want to play this. And then, this one is a canonical full Metal Gear release, but they, for some reason, recast the guy, and it is kind of really, really weird. So I guess maybe it's just like holding on to that hope that is actually pretty much justification for David Hayter being in the next game and being important in the next game, is avoiding the absurdity of that kind of speaking to yourself kind of thing. But
so I wasn't paying attention. Is that Colonel Campbell talking to you?
No.
Your headset? Who is that? That's Master Miller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
McDonald Miller? Was that his name? I can't remember.
I honestly don't remember. He is apparently a big player in Peace Walker. But, he's
I still haven't played that.
I played a bit
Master
of it
Miller.
On the 360 HD version. And it seemed kind of cool, but I guess it's also very Monster Hunter-esque, so it kind of demands you play it multiplayer for some of the bosses and stuff.
Right.
So if you don't have people playing it, which I'm assuming there's nobody playing it now, that might be kind of unbalanced in an annoying way. Where I was definitely having a lot of problems with this big tank boss early in the game. It's kind of a strange thing.
Spoiler
the missions are very
Master
small.
Master Miller is actually Liquid.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not Big Boss or the boss, though. He's a pimp. Okay. Mr. Mark has a theory.
He's pimp rank.
I mean, maybe a little bit of the absurdity isn't there. Like, I really enjoyed in Metal Gear Solid 3, like, the PS2 release full-on had, like, monkey, like, escape junk, Ape Escape, which was super
Ape Escape. And but it also had the stupid shit you could shoot.
It had stupid shit you could shoot. It also had, like, ridiculous camo outfits. Like, just like, I have banana camo! And you're just like, this is so dumb. And that...
No, it's good.
But it contrasted with the serious gravity of, like, the cutscenes and stuff in a way that was really hilarious. In fact, they often had, like, modes where you could basically remix the cutscenes with, like, different character is there or something. So it's like, it's an old lady and she's sneaking around shooting people, and how stupid does that look? And you're just like, it looks pretty stupid. That's pretty funny. That kind of humor doesn't seem to... Well, I mean, there's a little bit of it there, but they also get really kind of darker with, like, there's a lot of torture kind of stuff. And in later in the mission, I guess, you'll see some of that. So, I don't know. It's a little less tonally satisfying. It didn't bring me back. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, a Metal Gear game came out, and I wasn't fully obsessed with it, so that's a little sad.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am too now. Like, it is third-person military espionage game with a dude with an eye patch and Keifer Sutherland's voice.
Yeah.
Where he just kept you waiting, huh? It's like, no, you didn't, because I wasn't expecting you. I was looking for Colonel. This is Snake. Like, completely different guy. I was looking for a completely different dude. You are not him. You know what? We'll get through this together, but don't call me. I won't call you.
I don't want to see you over.
Again. This is a one-night thing. It'll probably take maybe an hour.
They kind of rub them in your face, too. Like, after you, like, you haven't even seen it. After you beat every single mission, it says, starring Keifer Sutherland. Like, it's just, like, splash on the screen. Like, they're so proud of that. And you're just like, no, that's what's wrong with the game. Like, you shouldn't keep reminding me. Like, I mean,
Keifer Sutherland should probably go fuck himself. That's probably what he should do. And David Hayter should probably just, like, bend him over a couch and anally rape him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Snake and Big Boss talking to each other.
No, they should definitely consider phoning David Hayter back or whatever's going on with that. But yeah, it's not how I want it. Which, yeah, I mean, with 4 they kind of lost some of my interest already. But playing through that HD collection again after that got me fired up again. So I was kind of on a high.
Those games are fantastic.
And it's so good too, considering
to take out the linchpin that has kind of been there for that character. Like, this is going to be hard for me to say. Snake is not a good character. He is the most basic of characters. He is puppet that gets played, and he follows orders. He is a military dude. Blah blah blah. As a character. He has no ups and downs that are really worth noting. Everything is in for his service for this giant story that Hideo Kojima couldn't tell in one game, so he decided to make 10 games that were 15 hours long of cutscenes for. But what made that character so iconic is the voice, and I don't know why. I think it might be nostalgia playing a factor, or it might be the fact that every time there's a 15-hour fucking cutscene, that's the voice I heard. I've heard that voice as Snake for the last, 15 years of my life? Like, what the fuck? Why do you change it? I get that it's the boss, it's Big Boss, but it's not, because Snake was a clone of Big Boss. They have the same voice. Keifer Sutherland, go fuck yourself, you goon. That's all I'm saying. That's my final thoughts on the matter.
Yeah. 24, was it ever good? I don't know. I'll probably never watch it.
So. You know, actually, I will say it has been. I will say that people have told me it's pretty good. So
okay, there's a movie out?
Maybe he should stay there.
Yeah, stick to what you're good at, Keifer. Don't try to become a voice actor.
Which is like basically nothing, but you somehow tricked people into one thing. So good job, you did it. Keep doing that. Don't
famous dads pulling strings. It's my theory. Donald. He's to blame for all this. Thanks a lot.
I love him, though. I love Donald.
I know.
I love him.
Yeah.
See, we're getting exclusive right here in the chat. Keifer is good in 24 and nothing else.
Oh, man. Not even Dark City. That's crazy.
Actually, Dark City was pretty good. I know. Not because of him.
It's not because of him. He's fine in it.
Actually, you know what? Name one thing that is good because of Keifer. I bet you can't. Because I bet 24 is fantastically written, but Keifer Sutherland is just the main dude.
Maybe. I think he won some Emmys or something. I don't know. Maybe the only thing is 24, and it's just a cultural blind spot for us. We just don't know.
Why do people like Keifer Sutherland that take iconic roles and ruin my childhood, why do they not die? And yet, Ryan Davis, who is a mastermind of comedy for internet video game coverage, has to pass away way before his time. I guess what I'm saying here is that we should kill Keifer Sutherland. No, we shouldn't do that. But we should start a petition. We shouldn't do that either. Continue. I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
I've gone down this dark thought process occasionally with, the Maker acquisition and stuff. Like, bringing up
Disney.
Some channels of just kind of Why is this video game coverage personality alive and this other one isn't? Why is that? Proof that
PewDiePie?
karma isn't real. What? I didn't say anyone's name. I don't know.
Is that who you're referring to?
Yeah.
I look here just like, yeah.
Yeah, you figured it out. You solved the mystery. You solved the bitter Nathan.
I agree with you. Let's get that straight out. I agree.
Yeah.
But let's look at it a little differently. Ryan Davis, probably a good 80 to 100 pounds overweight, smoked regularly, had a job where he sat at a desk playing video games all day and eating junk food that fans
drank
sent him.
a lot too.
PewDiePie looks like he's in pretty good shape, and he's Swedish. Swedish people don't die. It's a known fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably why.
It's a big difference. I guess if you want to be just like logical about it, I totally understand why that is the case, but it's still just like, hasn't medical technology gotten to the point where that shouldn't matter anymore? Just have like a cyber heart or something? Like what's
cyber Ryan Davis?
Yeah.
I think that would be dangerous. I don't think the world's ready.
I guess not.
A Ryan Davis that cannot die and can drink until he doesn't even pass out, he just drinks?
Yeah.
Like Bender. Man.
Just a robot version.
He would become Bender.
Yeah. But that's not what happened. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That has been such
voiced by John DiMaggio. It would be weird.
Whatever, just like bringing me back to that kind of weird experience I'm having with Chrono Trigger. I think. How
do you feel if Keifer Sutherland started voicing Ryan Davis? It's just like every time Ryan was on video,
it's like I load up episode 10 of the Chrono Trigger Endurance Run, and for some reason it's Keifer Sutherland and Patrick Klepek. I wouldn't listen to it anymore.
Or you just really weird. You listen to the Giant Blobcast. It's like, hey, everybody, it's Tuesday.
Like, no, these are old episodes. How did you get in here? For some reason, Keifer Sutherland used all his millions from 24 to retroactively re-record all the episodes of my favorite podcast because we called him out on our podcast.
Hey, everyone, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Giant Bombcast. I'm Ryan Davis.
No, you're not.
I can't even do Keifer Sutherland. I'm just doing generic, deep,
just gravel voice guy. Yeah.
I always talk like this. I can't talk any way else.
Yep. Keifer Sutherland. I guess I should watch The Lost Boys. Maybe it'll make it all make sense. Just like,
nope.
That came from. It doesn't work?
It won't.
That movie's not good?
The movie's fine, but it's not because of Keifer Sutherland.
Okay. So it's another swing and a miss. Huh.
Swing and a miss. Anyway, speaking of movies, you watched some stuff.
Yeah, I watched some movies that I was pretty happy about. It was a good week for film going. I guess maybe I'll kick it off with just something from the home collection here. I talked about last week, Criterion Collection. We tried watching that French movie and fell asleep because it was so boring and, good. I picked up another one off that shelf, Missing, starring Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek. And that was actually a pretty interesting movie. I'd never seen it before. And actually, it had a lot of kind of just history stuff I'd never heard of before. Did you know that in Chile in the early 70s, there was a massive coup and a bunch of people were executed in this stadium? It was basically a mini genocide.
Sure.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
No, why would I know that?
I don't know. It was kind of this weird, surprising thing for me. I had no idea. Just modern times, guns in the streets, craziness was going on in that part of the world at that time or whatever. So, whatever. The story is basically, it's a true story about this journalist dude who goes missing, hence the title, and his father flies over there to Chile and meets up with that dude's wife to kind of figure out.
He flies over there?
He flies over there in an airplane. They don't really get into that. He flies over. What are you doing? So yeah, Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek are kind of dealing with government bureaucracy and kind of people dicking them around and giving them crappy information and kind of just
the usual.
Yeah, pretty much. And slowly kind of realizing what has happened and how dark the government can be and CIA cover-ups and stuff like that. And I guess, the movie was kind of controversial because it was kind of really making implications that the United States totally knew that this stuff was going on and was kind of in favor of it because they were kind of siding with this one dictator over this other kind of thing. Like one of those classic scenarios. I don't know, just kind of the performances and stuff that hold it together. And also just, I kind of liked some of the visual stuff that the director used for it. Like, I kind of read Roger Ebert's review of the movie, and he was kind of criticizing it for having kind of weird editing tricks and stuff that get in the way of the emotional punch of the story. I don't know if I agree with that. There's basically a sequence where various people are telling them what happened when this dude got abducted. And to show that, they're showing kind of like the different versions of that story just kind of appear as they're telling it. So it's like, no, there was 2 trucks and like 4 guys came, but it was a civilian truck. So then like the military truck will switch out with a civilian truck. And it's like, no. There was actually just 1 military vehicle and like 8 guys. And then it'll like fade back in with like that information. It was kind of cool. I thought that was a cool sequence.
So it's kind of like Gunslinger or something?
I guess, yeah. Like the
Gunslinger
kind of
does a few things like that.
Narrator kind of thing of just like unreliable information getting visualized for you. And,
right. Like maybe some exaggeration.
It's kind of fair because like the characters trying to piece together the story are only getting kind of secondhand information. Like they're just kind of trying to figure out what happened, but they don't actually know. And like they don't know if the people they're talking to are telling the truth or just kind of misinformed or talking about some other American or whatever. Like
spoiler alert, they're never telling the truth.
Never, ever.
Ever. Actually, nobody's ever telling the truth.
One of them is, but...
Okay.
Anyway. So, I don't know, it was kind of an interesting story to see play out, and it was much more just compelling storytelling than that other art film we saw. So, I guess, it was kind of, like, easy to appreciate, like, some of its storytelling stuff that was just... Hey, we established the guy who will eventually go missing first, so he's kind of in the movie for about 20 minutes joking around with his wife and stuff, and you're just kind of like, okay, this guy seems okay. And then he disappears, and you're like, okay, well, now I kind of want to know what happened to him. And then Jack Lemmon shows up, and he's going to figure it out. And Jack Lemmon's just has a great sad face, and he has to be sad a lot in this movie. So
good.
Sad stuff. It's kind of...
playing up to his good stuff there, then.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can do kind of comical stuff too, but like this is a much more kind of heavy situation. In a weird way, it kind of reminded me of what I liked about Philomena, which came out last year, which is like 2 people from different generations kind of going on this journey and trying to figure out a probably unpleasant truth. It was almost the same kind of format, which I don't know if that's intentional on the makers of Philomena in any way. It was just kind of strangely... fit a lot of the same, like it's like if you were to tag this on a movie website or something with like plot elements, it would have like a decent amount that cross over. So
okay,
but more political focused than kind of religious cover up. Like that's like the Catholic Church kind of burning records and misinforming people. This is the American and Chilean government kind of being coy about stuff, and But anyway, that was a pleasant surprise from my own library. The ones I went and saw in theaters, Grand Budapest Hotel, which is the new Wes Anderson movie.
How was that?
I liked it quite a bit, probably more than maybe any of that dude's movies. So have you seen any Wes Anderson films? Do you have a read on that dude? Or have you
Rushmore.
I
get him and PT mixed up. Okay, yes.
Royal
I've seen a few of them.
Life Aquatic.
That one I didn't see.
Fantastic Mr. Fox?
No, because I didn't want to.
Moonrise Kingdom?
No, also because... Actually, we talked about it.
Yeah.
And you were just like, it's a Wes Anderson movie. It's like the other ones. I was like, okay. Yeah. I'm not going to see it then.
I guess that's maybe a bit of a generalization, but, I mean, it's very much in his style and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, like, the major differentiating things for like this movie versus Moonrise Kingdom, which I kind of ended up kind of feeling kind of indifferent about, wasn't super into it. That movie has kids speaking beyond their years and being into stuff that no kid was ever into. And like it just kind of did enough things where I was like, I don't like how unrealistic this is. This doesn't seem like it's for any greater purpose. It's just kind of being cute and precious about kids and camp and that kind of stuff in a way I don't feel about towards that thing. Like, I don't feel especially nostalgic about camp, or I don't feel especially negative about camp, because it's ultimately about kids that run away from camp and do other stuff. Like, I don't know. It just kind of, a lot of what that story was about just didn't click with me at all. Grand Budapest Hotel, I found it just way more interesting. It's basically, like, I mean, we're seeing the trailer here, but the main thing that I found really cool about it was there's kind of multiple layers of kind of framing narratives to it. So the movie opens with there's a cemetery, and there is this gravestone to an author. Actually, no, I think it opens with that author speaking, but then you get this kind of girl with just a copy of this book called The Grand Budapest Hotel, and she starts reading it, and that is kind of layer one. Layer two is the stuff she is reading, which is this author talking to the owner of this strange hotel in the 60s, and then in that kind of story, the owner of the hotel starts telling about this concierge from the hotel in the 30s who really had a big influence on him, and then it goes further inside that story, and then that is kind of the main story, which is told in 4:3, and is a little bit more kind of just a whimsical caper kind of thing, which is very much kind of well-traveled territory for Wes Anderson, kind of whimsy territory kind of stuff, goofy characters, all that kind of thing. But I guess the framing of it, like just in story within a story within a story, kind of makes the goofiness of the center story a little more purposeful to me. Like, it's like, well, it's a person reading about a conversation that they had with someone about someone who is long dead or whatever. Like, it's kind of just, because it's so removed from present day reality, it's not going to really resemble present day reality.
Right.
Like, it's going to look a little exaggerated and a little ridiculous. And I don't know, it just felt like better justified than some of his other stuff, which just like seems goofy for the sake of it, or just kind of stylized for the sake of it. And I don't know, I was kind of into that. I kind of just like the idea of being nostalgic about a business that has failed. So, like, in the 60s, the hotel is kind of on its last legs and is almost done, and they're kind of like, this owner is fondly looking back at kind of why he chose this as like his life's work, and this is his vocation to kind of look after this hotel. And that's kind of just neat, because, I don't know, thinking about careers long-term like that, like someone from being a teenager to their dying days has one job, like, that's just kind of not a thing that happens anymore. So that gave me something to kind of mull over. There's kind of this notion of the artist bringing back to life, like, people who he has talked to or whatever, like making people into characters that can then kind of be immortal in this weird way. So, like, yeah, that the author gravestone is there. Whatever. I'm getting kind of too specific about a movie that people in here haven't talked about or haven't seen. Some of the themes it kind of touched on, and some of just the ideas, like failed businesses, getting old, artists kind of having this ability to kind of live beyond their years via their work or whatever. Like, just kind of those little things are kind of in there, even though it's all kind of surrounded by goofy jokes and kind of comedy and fun madcappery and all that stuff. Like, there are kind of moments where it'll kind of showcase like the characters will kind of get a little more dimensional, and you kind of get the sense that he is contrasting those moments of like true, like kind of more deeper reality, kind of emotional stuff with this kind of baseline of comedic goofiness. I'm again getting bad at explaining it, but it's great. I really liked it. I had a great time, and I actually found there were things to think about it after I saw it, which didn't happen with Moonrise Kingdom, didn't really happen with Fantastic Mr. Fox. So yeah, I don't know how to really express it other than, if you have kind of a tolerance for that dude's style and you don't find it irritating or whatever, like this is probably a really great expression of that, and it uses it in ways that I think are more mature maybe than some of his other films. I don't know. I was really just impressed with a lot of things about it. And I guess, like, kind of the easy things to appreciate is just the performances in it. Like, it's kind of actors I haven't seen in starring roles in a long time. Like, Ray Fiennes, I just don't see that dude as like the star of stuff. He's usually like he's been in a lot of villain roles lately. You know, like he's Voldemort, or he is Hades in Wrath of the Titans or whatever. Like he's kind of like in a lot of big profile movies, but he's never like the star. So this just kind of gives him a character to kind of really just fill the screen, and like, you know, he's really...
Wasn't he the Red Dragon?
He was that killer, but he's kind of a character in that.
Do you see?
Wasn't that Event Horizon?
Event Horizon had the same line. You're right.
Yeah, I was just like...
No, it was something similar.
Oh, okay. But yes.
But he has him tied up, and he's showing him the slides, remember? It's like, do you see? Next one. Blah, 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 blah. Do you see?
Okay. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, no, he's in that. But again, kind of a supporting role. Like, I don't know, just that he gets this big meaty role to kind of really get into was nice to see. And just kind of some of the supporting faces that show up in there, like Jeff Goldblum, Harvey Keitel, Willem Dafoe has like a fun, goofy role as like this hitman essentially. There's I guess one specific scene that I've been kind of trying to, like, I don't know, express why I think it's so funny. Adrian Brody has this part as, like, this really selfish... I haven't really even gotten into the story, but I don't know. I talked about the framing around the story, but not the story. So I apologize. This old lady dies and leaves a bunch of money to, like, her, you know, family members and stuff, but she leaves this one painting to Gustav, the character Ray Fiennes plays, who's just the manager of this hotel she really liked, and the family is pissed about that because it is a really valuable painting. So, yeah, Adrian Brody plays the kind of the son who is most incensed about all that and wants to have Gustav not only, like, cut off from the inheritance or whatever, but also arrested for her murder. Like, he basically just ranks him for causing this and all that stuff. And there's a point where, like, it's just kind of like, it's set in the 1930s, but the dialogue gets contemporary in a way that I just find really funny. So it's like, it's the 1930s. Everything about the situation is something that you could imagine in, like, a Marx Brothers kind of comedy or, like, a Charlie Chaplin. Like, it's just kind of old, kind of goofy stuff happening sometimes. But characters will deliver lines like, what the fuck is this shit? But it's the 1930s. And I don't know. It's just funny. Like, it's like, essentially, a thing has been stolen and swapped with something else. And the character just flips out in a way that is, like, our modern time speech, but set in that time. It's, I don't know, goofy, but funny.
Okay.
And I probably ruined it, but whatever. I will stop. Grand Budapest Hotel, it's great. Noah is also great, and for very different reasons. I guess, I was getting, like, on the Pixel Stuff subreddit, I don't know who it was, but someone was really, like, angry at that movie for basically validating creationist stuff or whatever. I don't know if that's really warranted at all. Like, it's kind of treating it, as far as I can, you know, as I'm perceiving it as a not religious person, as kind of just another source of mythology, like Judeo mythology, but it is very much exaggerated and kind of fantastical, like very fantastical, and that's totally fine. Like, it is just a epic story, and it is a popular ancient legend that the continents were split apart by this giant calamitous flood that happened, and some dude survived, and animals got on that boat and all this stuff. Like, it's kind of, you know, a popular legend. Like, you don't need to necessarily give it too much stock than that. It is not owned by one faith exactly. Like Judaism values that maybe more so even than Christianity. So people getting upset about it for not being biblically accurate and stuff, I don't know what, like, that's not a criteria of mine, so I don't care about that. So when I am presented with a bunch of giant rock golems, I am stoked. That's awesome. So
that is.
Like, that's one of the early things in this, is just, like, all of the angels in the movie are, like, coated in stone and walk around like just craggedy, multi-limbed things that almost look kind of stop motionist at times with how they're moving, and they have, like, glowing faces, and it's awesome. Like, it's just like, this is such a ridiculous, fantastical thing, but I love it. And it's also kind of set in this kind of time before written history or whatever, so they kind of just have magic business going on. Like, it's like they'll plant a seed from the Garden of Eden and a forest just springs out of the ground. Or like there's these little rocks that they just, you smash it and fire just bursts out of them. And they just use that for doing all sorts of weird business, like burning stuff and starting little fires for cooking, or, more malicious business maybe, like putting in a little cannon, which Ray Winstone does. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a good epic scale story with kind of sweeping music, a lot of kind of just fundamental questions about mankind facing extinction, essentially. Because, like, the flood is coming, and it's kind of like this dude has the opportunity to basically cut off humanity. Like, if his family dies, that's it for humanity. And he's kind of tempted to let that happen because humans cause such horrible things to happen. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just... It kind of reminded me of a lot of the same thoughts I had when I was watching Magnolia, Lars von Trier's movie about a giant asteroid smashing the Earth in modern times, which kind of has like a lot of different characters kind of dealing with that horrible reality in very different ways. This has some of that.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really well acted, really well presented story. There's some freaky, haunting stuff in there of like just a lot of people drowning and getting crushed by giant waves and all this stuff. It's just a good apocalypse like drama kind of, but it happens to center around this kind of biblical story. So a lot of people like seem to take that really seriously one way or the other in ways that kind of, it's like, oh, this isn't accurate to my fundamentalist views, so I hate it. Or, oh, this is religious and validates the existence of God, so it's terrible. And it's just like, well, if you can not be on either of those extremes, there's actually just a really good movie in the middle. Like, it's like some of the best performances I've seen in a while, like Jennifer Connelly, just emotion welling out, like Russell Crowe dealing with a lot of, like, they basically have a lot of depression kind of stuff Noah's wrestling with, a lot of like heavy choices, like him hitting, like there's stuff in the Old Testament story that never gets acknowledged in like Sunday school. Like Noah drank a lot, and this takes that and kind of makes it its own little thing, kind of comes up with reasons for that to happen. So
and then they just like make fun of him when he's like, there's gonna be a flood and stuff. It's like, all right, drunkie.
No, well, he actually hits the bottle real bad after it's happened. And not the bottle, like the mug of fermented grapes. Like, it's very kind of old stuff. But yeah, no, like, people... Like, actually, the way they kind of treat humanity dealing with the Ark is just like, fuck you, like, we're gonna take that thing. Because, you're not leaving us here. We're gonna survive, too. And it's just like, okay. So... Like, there's kind of a standoff centered around the Ark. Like, they don't totally disbelieve him outright. They just kind of are jealous. Like, they kind of frame it as, like, this is the tribe of Cain that was spurned by God for the first murder. So they haven't heard from God in a long time, so they're just kind of super jealous of Noah that he's in touch with him and all this stuff, and, like, they just want to kill him. And, yeah, it's kind of, like, you kind of have to get over that hurdle of this movie thinks that like God exists and was involved in the world in a very miracles kind of way, and all this stuff happened. But they also kind of don't play entirely to that fundamentalist view either, because there's a sequence that basically sums up the creation story, but it seems very heavily inferred that evolution happened. Like, there's time lapse that shows tons of time going by, and like fish coming out of the ocean and different animals kind of emerging and all this stuff. So, and it's also just a visually amazing sequence. It's kind of this like rapid fire, like single frames animated kind of look to it. It's hard to describe, but it was like rotoscope, like fast. Like, it was like, as I was watching it, I was like, I'm amazed I'm like not having a seizure, but
okay,
I am in no way like nauseated by how fast paced this is flickering. Like, it's kind of just perfectly like timed to just be really interesting looking. Like, it's like time lapse in a way I've never really seen it. It was really, really cool. So yeah, there's just some like top tier filmmaking sequences like that, and it's Darren Aronofsky. He's made quite a few films already. Like, he knows what he's doing. And this is
someone in the chat says Noah seems like it's treating the Old Testament like it's a comic book and adapting that material into a weird movie. Is that fair? Like, it's kind of taking the basic story, making it a little bit more like animated, like shit's going on to it, and then like turning that into an Aronofsky movie.
Well, occasionally, because I mean, there are some just like battle scenes and like Russell Crowe basically doing his gladiator thing and like fighting a bunch of dudes with like axes and hammers and stuff. Like, it's kind of like,
that's not his gladiator thing. That's Russell Crowe. Yeah. Like, he just showed up that day and they started filming.
Yeah,
so
he's just a punchy guy, so they just filmed that, and it's just like, okay, well, that was actually pretty good. I'm surprised how well choreographed that looks. He threw that axe across the thing and smoked that dude. Yeah, like there's like fight scenes in it, and kind of some stuff that certainly wasn't explicitly ever in the Old Testament story, but it's better for it. Like, whatever. Like, I am not beholden to the Bible to be like, you can't improve that thing. This has like better themes, way cooler angels, and just like a better narrative arc to it, and it kind of rolls in a bunch of other kind of stuff. Like, there's almost, like the story of Abraham having to sacrifice Isaac, like that kind of dilemma of like, do I trust God with this? And he's like literally about to kill a kid, like his son. Yeah. Like, they basically shoehorn that kind of Old Testament dilemma into this story. So it's like him with a knife thinking about like, well, I need to end humanity. Like, we don't deserve to continue. And him kind of like having to wrestle with that. That's not in the original story, but it makes for a really interesting, entertaining story that's just kind of, I don't know, wrestling with big questions about, existence. And yeah, it was really kind of exhilarating to see it play out. I was really into it. So yeah, like, as long as you can kind of not be super like slave to tradition and this story needs to be told this way, or you don't want to be super snarky and be like, none of this is real, shut up. Like, it's just an entertaining fantasy movie. Like, just go watch it on those terms, and it's quite something. Like, there's some really cool stuff in there. So yeah, and Clint Mansell, dude, that dude does some cool music. Anthony Hopkins is like way old, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Emma Watson. Sure. Emma Watson's there. She's
You know what I'm gonna ask you next?
What's that?
I don't even believe I have to say these words because you already know. You can read my mind, but for the sake of people that cannot read my mind and what I'm about to ask you.
Yeah.
How does this movie fit into the Russell Crowe timeline? So, like, is this the beginning where he's actually Noah, does the ark, flood, blah, 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 then he is a gladiator after,
this does
rebuilt
predate
world.
Gladiator.
Okay.
So, I guess it would be earlier in the timeline than that, but, yeah.
So this comes first, then Gladiator, and then after that, probably Robin Hood. Like, when we find out he actually didn't die.
Yeah.
He actually was Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. So that happened. And then we go a little further into the future, and he is...
Cop.
I can't remember what the dude's name is. No, the Beautiful Mind guy.
No, because that was later, wasn't it?
Well, I don't remember, actually. I mean, probably, because LA Confidential took place in the
40s. So,
in the 40s. So, yeah. And he was a cop, yeah. And then
after... And then he actually, like, you think he's okay at the end, because he just got shot through the jaw or whatever, but actually he died. Immediately got
You know what? Chat makes a good point. Master and Commander. He was probably...
yeah, that's right. 1700s.
He was probably Master and Commander after his stint as Robin Hood.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that, I think, timeline-wise. And then he became a cop after that, because the sea was no longer for him. He lost his sea legs, and he became a landlubber, and became a cop, a flatfoot even.
Yeah. And then he became John Nash, the mathematician.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But because of schizophrenia or whatever, like, he didn't inhabit that consciousness until later in his life. So that's
right.
Because, like, otherwise the timelines would cross over, and that doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, this all ends in Virtuosity, where he is that weird computer guy and fights Denzel Washington.
No, because after that happens,
he's
actually, in the future, he's Jor-El. He births Superman.
That's not the future. That's, like, modern times, isn't it?
It's like because they're ahead. They're, like, more evolved than humans.
Well, they're more evolved, but that's just on a totally different planet. So that might actually be first. I don't even know. Like, how long did it take for Kal-El to get to Earth? Like, how long was that journey? So that's probably.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I need to watch it to know where it fits in. I haven't seen it firsthand.
That's some like extended universe bullshit.
I guess so. The extended Russell Crowe universe.
That's like fan fiction. That's not canon.
That's not canon. It's not even. It's not what actually happened to Russell Crowe.
I could have sworn he was a gunslinger or something in like a western as well at some point. Was he ever in a western? I could have sworn he was.
Is he in Quick of the Dead or something? Was he in that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It honestly seems like he was a gunslinger in the olden days at some point. I just
googled Quick and the Dead. He's in it. He is in Quick and the Dead. So yes, he was.
Okay, so that actually happened after Robin Hood,
after Master and Commander.
Yeah, after Master and Commander, and before LA Confidential, he was probably Romper Stomper. Like he was.
Really?
Wasn't he like before LA Confidential? Why would he he realized his shitty life at that point? Then he became a cop in LA Confidential.
Okay.
He was trying to stop all the future Romper Stompers. I can't remember his fucking name in that movie. I apologize.
It's Mr. Romper Stomper. His name's Ando in that movie.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm looking at the thing right now. Okay, whatever. Is this like some sort of thing? Is this kind of like, I know there's the Gladiator 2 thing.
We just created it.
Nick Cave was writing some weird sequel to that movie, which took place like hundreds of years later.
I remember I just looked it up. I remember now what movie I was thinking of. It was 3:10 to Yuma he was in.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a much more prominent Western that he was in.
Yeah.
Totally, you're right. I don't know why my brain skipped over that movie I have seen and instead opted for Quick and the Dead, which I have no knowledge of at all. I know Sam Raimi made it, but that's it. So, okay.
Okay, so pixelresponse.com, the home of the Russell Crowe timeline that will be on the site coming soon.
I think we're a little bit in trouble because Cinderella Man also would cross over with like probably 2 of the movies we said, because I think it's in the 40s, so LA Confidential's in danger.
It would have been in the like dirty 30s, right? During the Depression.
You're right. So that dude, I guess, could be dead by the time LA Confidential starts. But
no, Russell Crowe does not die.
Oh, it's just the same dude? You're saying he was a boxer and then he becomes a cop and changes his name?
That's what I'm saying. This is his timeline. This is like when he eventually does die and becomes Jor-El or whatever computer like form he takes on because he cannot die. He can only shed his human form. At his funeral, there will be like, Russell Crowe, this was your life, sort of thing. And this is just like all the stuff that he's gone through in his life. From like 10,000 BC to now, basically, or whenever Noah takes place.
So you're right. Yeah, Noah is an important new entry in the Russell Crowe timeline, so people who are interested in seeing that in its entirety should probably check out that movie.
How the hell did Russell Crowe all of a sudden become a topic? It's like Russell Crowe and Nick Cage now are just like the guys we talk about, I guess.
What?
Like, this just happened.
We've never talked about Russell Crowe before.
This is going to happen from now on.
Okay, maybe in subsequent episodes we'll visit some more Russell Crowe movies, but we have not had a recurring Russell Crowe theme at all. So
no, this is the start of it.
Okay, welcome to the club, Russell Crowe. You're pretty sweet. Yeah. You and Nick Cage should probably star together at some point in the greatest movie ever made. I don't know. I think that's it for movie stuff I was really excited about.
Okay.
There's ongoing TV show stuff, but nothing of super note on that I can think of. So I'm done for media stuff. We can move on to what?
To what?
Oh, right. We did go to a live weird thing that happened. I kind of tweeted about it cryptically, but the Dark Carnival.
Welcome to the Dark Carnival. I can't remember ICP lyrics.
We went to the Dark Carnival. Like, it was just an event in town, and we decided to go there.
The lyrics to House of Illusions is playing in my head now.
Great. I apologize.
Yeah, you should be very sorry.
So there's a local pub that is named Dickens. It has weird things there sometimes. Usually not that weird. Like, prior ones has just been, hey, they got Oculus Rift here. Do you want to check it out? Okay. And then, play some stuff. Do you want to play some board games? Yeah, all right. Do you want to see a band play, but on the screen is Batman Returns? Like, I always want that. So that was a match point.
What band was it?
I don't know. Some local business. I'm not really sure. I was mostly mesmerized by the Tim Burton movie. So
sure.
Yeah. Just with the new backing score, it was actually really interesting. So, kind of weird, but not super weird. This was the strangest event I've been to there. It was basically billed as kind of like this weird kind of sideshow, magic tricks, that kind of thing.
It was a dark carnival. ICP was there.
They played an ICP song, I think, because there was some sort of lyric about getting blood all over a clown suit, and I was like, that sounds like something they would say. But I only know Bang Boom Pow, so I'm not sure. But
do you know lyrics to it?
For Bang Boom Pow stuff, a little bit.
Do you? Because I don't really, except Miracles. Like everybody.
There's like the one song I actually kind of like.
Oh, and In Your Face!
Yeah.
Or whatever that beginning goes like.
Yep. But
yeah, that's pretty bad.
I still ain't got nobody. Like I'm lonely, sure could use a homie. That's a great song.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of sad. But okay. During this song, I think was an ICP thing, there was a contortionist who was initially just kind of bending around all weird. But then she started putting pins through her skin and tying balloons to them. And then a strange man, a strange man came out and did that. And he had weird horns that were in his head. Like, that's just a surgical thing you can get, kind of like an earring or whatever, but just implanted in your head flesh. And I don't know, that was odd. But later, that same gentleman tethered himself to another guy via pins that were in their backs, and then ran apart from each other with this kind of rope in between them, and it was kind of tugging at their back flesh. And then a bunch of people came out and were kind of sitting on that rope, and they were kind of holding them up like a weird suspension bridge, but again with back flesh, so there was like blood and stuff. It was kind of horrible. But there was also just kind of a guy that was like pinning clothespins to his face and then suspending somebody via a thing attached to his neck? Oh, his teeth. He had like a bit in his mouth, and then she was tied to him and pulling the ropes with the clothespins, and that looked painful as well. So, just kind of weird pain endurance feats, I guess, is what you would call it. And those were actually, like, I'd never seen those happen, so that was actually the most interesting part. There was also some bands that played and stuff, and they seemed fine. But by the time the second band played, we were kind of like, all right, it's getting late, and I'd rather just see kind of these weird acts wrap up, but I don't want to see another like half-hour set by a band I've never heard of. And we had a meal, and we're tired, so we went home. Too much for us, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, needles and things.
What is your favorite Joker card album by ICP?
I haven't listened to any of them. What is the one featured in Solaris, the Steven Soderbergh movie?
I have no idea.
Okay. They play a track from ICP in that movie.
How does it go?
Oh, I need to find the clip. I have it, but I don't have it right now. So I apologize. I can't recall this instantly. I guess I could just look it up.
I think technically, I don't know if Bang Pow Boom counts
as an album,
as a Joker card. As a Joker card. It
might. Okay.
The ones I always come to are the ones that I grew up with, which is Ringmaster, Riddlebox, Great Malenko, and the Amazing Jekyll Brothers.
The song is Riddlebox.
Oh, Riddlebox. Okay, Riddlebox is great.
Yeah, it is in that movie. So
okay,
there you go. That is by proxy to a movie I like. My favorite ICP album of that series. Bang Boom.
My favorite.
Isn't Bang
My
Boom
favorite
Pow
album
like
was Great Malenko for sure.
Okay, I thought Bang Boom Pow was supposed to be a return to the Dark Carnival kind of stuff. Like I thought that was another demon.
I think you're right, because before that was the Tempest, which was fine, but the Tempest was a ride in the Dark Carnival, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It was like a roll. The Tempest was like a roller coaster that killed you or something. Okay. I can't remember.
So it's a concept album, but it's more distanced from their regular stuff.
Right. Great Malenko is where it's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you seen their movies? I've been curious about their movies. Big Money Hustlers and Big Money Hustlers?
No. Why would I?
I don't know. I just, they're musical men, but they also made goofy movies. Like, I'm just wondering if you ever looked into those. That's kind of just been something I've been thinking about for a while. It was on Netflix for a little bit. Rustlers, was it? Yeah. But I didn't click play. I probably should have, in retrospect. I'm going to see if it's on there right now. But, yeah. So yeah, that was another media thing that happened of sorts.
Okay.
Yeah, just had to bring it up. Okay, that's it for me, though. Do question time, or is there
You're completely out? Holy shit.
I played threes some more. I
started playing threes. It's okay. It's pretty fun.
It's okay, yeah.
It's a phone game. Like
yeah, I flip the tiles around when I'm listening to stuff on a bus. Like, it does its job.
Or, like, if you're waiting for, like, something, if you're, like, in a waiting room or something, and then when you're done, you just put it back in your pocket and you don't care.
Yeah,
like, it's one of those.
You don't care.
No.
I guess Towerfall is still cool. Like, when you unlock new stuff, it definitely does remind me of the Smash Brothers thing of, like, new challenger approaches kind of thing. Like, you don't know exactly what it is you did, but there is a new piece of content now, and that's fun. So
okay.
They do that pretty well. Like, it's just like, I don't know why, but there's a new character here now, and we have to fight them. And then you unlock them, and it's like, okay, cool. So that's my one kind of new
We have to fight them?
Yeah. You have to shoot arrows at them and jump on them. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
There you go. So, question time?
Yeah, let's do it. I just got to close this thing that I had open and took up my whole screen. My notepad of all the stuff I've done, which is literally 4 things, and they are all video games. Yeah. Okay, voicemails. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Paul. Hey, Nathan. Meowth and I watched Space Dandy last week. Meowth got excited because there were 2 dandies in this episode. What? I never saw Meowth like this before. But then at the end, Dandy said there was like chameleons everywhere. We could all be chameleons. I mean, I could be a chameleon. Meowth could be a chameleon. But she's so sexy, I would care. And Paul would be a chameleon, and Nathan would be a chameleon, Albus would be a chameleon, Foxy the Kid would be a chameleon, maybe even Zeta Shade could be a chameleon. Oh man, Mario 64 Mario could be a chameleon, Train Drops could be a chameleon, Ben Sabotage could be a chameleon. Oh, so much chameleons. I'll see you with the stream.
Was there a lot of chameleons in the episode? Like, what is...
Hey Paul, how was my Space No wait, not Space Dandy. Marshmallow doesn't have the courtesy to be Space Dandy. I was doing a Marshmallow impression. Was it good? I hope it was good. I want Paul to notice that I'm good at doing impressions of people. And also, Nathan, you asshole, I do not have bitch tits.
I didn't say that. I was talking about Fight Club.
Nathan, why you gotta be so mean? You know I'm insensitive about it. Never mind. Nathan's just a meanie face. Nathan's a meanie face, and he hasn't even played Pokemon yet.
It's true.
Nathan, you are hereby known as the meanie face of the podcast. You beat Paul saying I'm a moron by calling me a bitch.
See, if you talk about weird Chuck things...
That Marshmallow impression was pretty good. I think that's why she just kept going on naming, like, everybody as a chameleon.
Oh, okay.
And then said something about how Meowth is so sexy.
Right, that is not typical Meowth material. So,
right.
Okay. I just feel bad about the Fight Club thing, because I was referring to... Like, I guess if you refer to something that they don't have the context for, it just sounds, like, totally out there. But it's like, no, dude, I thought everyone had seen Fight Club. Even though Brittany hasn't seen it. So, people clearly haven't. But, yeah, we can watch it sometime. I have it.
We can watch it sometime. Just like it's brain off camera.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. So sorry, but watch that movie. Don't read the book. I've read the book too. The movie's better, but because you get to listen to music while it's playing, and also David Fincher, stylish. Chameleons. Was there a question about that, or is it just Space Dandy? Have you seen this episode?
Calling you out about being mad. No, I have to catch up on. I haven't been watching a lot of TV stuff lately. I got to catch up on a bunch of stuff.
I know how it's spelled. It was a joke. Because chameleon air. Anyway.
That's right. They see me rolling. They hating. Trying to catch me riding dirty. Next voicemail.
Hey, Paul. Hey, asshole. Anyways, this news is about Space Dandy, so Paul better listen up. The recent episode of Space Dandy, the one that's going to come out on Saturday of this week, is going to be the last episode of Space Dandy Season 1. So, Space Dandy Season 2 won't be out till July, so you may have to find a show that will keep your interest for the next 2 to 3 months, possibly. And that's just a little hint for you, so I'm sure you can find some other show to watch. Now, I should probably tell Asshole that Space Dandy, the dubs will be up on the Funimation site some point in May. So he better enjoy them, or at least watch them. And if he doesn't enjoy them, there is something wrong with him.
Okay.
Anyways, the Attack on Titan dub has also been announced last weekend during Anime Boston, and I'm okay with the results. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be good, and that's my opinion. So, Paul, do you think you can watch any more anime? I've been enjoying Fairy Tail. I can recommend it to you if you want.
Actually, Fairy Tail is on Netflix, so maybe, because it's easily accessible. Like, at least one episode.
I kind of forgot. I did watch the first episode of Sword Art Online.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, it had a cool premise established, but it also seems like a thing that could do the anime thing of going on forever. Because it's like, there's no real confines to the scenario, so it could just keep going.
It sounds like some little girl wants to fuck her brother or something.
What? It honestly was reminding me...
That stuff in there, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen Existence, like the David Cronenberg movie? No?
Saying, do I remember it?
No, have you seen it?
Oh, like bits and parts, but no. I'm just going to say...
I guess it kind of reminded me of that. It's basically like a bunch of people log into this hot new video game that is like a VR game, and then almost immediately they realize they can't log out from the game, and then the creator of the game shows up in the game and says, hey, that's not a glitch, that is a feature. You can't actually leave unless you exit through the 100th level of this tower. Oh, and if you remove the headset, you die. Okay, bye. And then that's the end of the first episode. And it's just kind of like all these video game players trapped in this weird dilemma. Or like this terrible kind of horror movie scenario kind of thing. And
like X-Files. X-Files had an episode like that.
Okay. But that's I guess kind of what I mean. Like, I don't mind that as a premise, but if it's going to be like a whole show forever, that sounds like I might get tired of it eventually. So I don't know if I'm going to continue down that at all. But I did like how they just kind of were hip to kind of gaming culture lingo and stuff, or like tuning into streams and like kind of being in clans and all this kind of stuff. Like, it seemed kind of with video games in a way that was kind of cool to see in a show. And also the UI and stuff they come up with kind of looked plausible enough.
Okay.
My only beef is it's set in the 2020s though, and there's talk of them lining up around the block to get this new video game. And I was just like, no, digital downloads, like that'll be the thing by then, right? So, I don't know. Seemed a little weird.
I'm being told that if you enjoyed Sword Art Online, to stick with it for the first season, then you can stop watching, because the second one's terrible.
Oh, that's too bad. But,
actually, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Is it falters after the first season?
I can't remember what episode they said, but they're like, just stop at like 13 or 14 or something, or 16. They're like, just stop there. That's it. That's the end of the series. I was like, oh, okay.
That's too bad, I guess, but it did seem like a cool premise. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, anime. And Space Dandy, have you seen the Chameleon episode that people are talking about, or how far are you in that?
Same place I was. I haven't watched it since I was talking about it like 3 or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yep.
So people need to get on your case too, and then people won't be mad at me.
When people start running a site, maybe then they can get on my case. Next voicemail.
Oh.
Hey,
okay.
Paul. Hey, asshole.
Again?
I'm enjoying Fairy Tale. It involves a wizard called Natsu. He fights with fire. A wizard named Gray who fights with ice, and is shirtless most of the time. A girl named Lucy who is like the Sakura, and she fights using spirits, so she doesn't actually fight, she just has spirits to fight for her. Which reminds me of Sakura in a way, because she doesn't really fight that much. And then you have Urza, and she uses her swords, and changes to different outfits, so it's basically like fan service. And then you have Wendy, she's like the little girl of the group. She uses healing magic, so that's her role. There's also a talking cat named Happy. He's a boy cat, and he basically provides the comic relief and sarcastic undertones, which is awesome. And there's also a girl cat named Carly or Carla. She is basically the hoity-toity cat that's grumpy most of the time. Kinda like me, except not as hoity-toity. I'm just grumpy. Especially at guys who call me bitch tits. But anyways, hey Paul, do you think the asshole could ever play Pokemon? I mean, I ask him every week, but he says he never does, and it makes me a little sad on the inside. I mean, the game's been around for 25 years, I think he could pick it up and play it. Hey, I swear if he plays Pokemons, I'll watch My Little Pony.
Oh.
Wait, I thought Meowth... Okay, now I'm confused.
The stakes have been raised.
Okay.
If Pokemon, she'll watch My Little Pony. There you go.
First season only, I guess? Anyway.
That's what it says about everything. It's like, just watch the first season.
Just watch the first season. It's all downhill after that. Okay. Pokemon's not that old, is it? Because I'm playing a game that's like 19 years old, and I'm pretty sure it's older.
Isn't it 95 or 6?
It might be 96. I don't know. It doesn't sound like... Here,
it might be 96, yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Pokemon Red? Anyway, I will eventually play Pokemon. Like I said on the Pixel Stuff subreddit, which is, a place to go for some information, we work at the same place now, so we can exchange games and movies with each other like it's nothing. So I could probably borrow it in the relatively near future. And provided I'm done playing Chrono Trigger and stuff, I might get around to that. 96. February 96 in Japan. It came out in 98 here. So
okay.
There you go.
I have a question for the chat, and for anybody that if they want to write in or tell us on Twitter as well. I only have 2 actual carts of Pokemon currently, and it is Pokemon Platinum and Pokemon... Oh, I don't have a cart for X. It has to be Platinum. Unless I loan you my DS, which I wouldn't be adverse to doing because I don't ever play it anyway. But what game should I lend Nathan? Pokemon X or Platinum?
Wait, I have a DS. I don't know why that would matter, but...
Because it's a download game on my DS.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, you can...
I thought I was going to borrow
the it.
Platinum, yeah. But okay.
Yeah, either way. It doesn't matter to me. But
they're all the same anyway. There's like...
No, X isn't. Other than that, yes. But yeah. But yeah.
Coliseum.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Just go completely off the wall.
Right, it's just like, I did play Pokemon. I played that GameCube one with the shadows. What was that one called?
Oh, that was Coliseum, wasn't it? The Shadow Pokemon.
XD, Gale of Darkness. That's the one I want to play.
Gale of Darkness.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's the only one. No. 1995, or 2005, rather. Exclusive to the GameCube.
All right, so this time we got some more voicemails from Marshmallow. He only sent me 2. I'm wondering if a third one got lost in the ether somewhere. I apologize if it did, but I only got 2. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get this started. Here we go.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. Guess what, Paul? You know how Meowth reminds Nathan about Space Dandy and Pokemon every week? Well, have you played Grand Theft Auto 5 online with me yet? I'm sure future me knows who's in your chat right now. I know you said you'd play it with me like as soon as it came out. It's been months now. Now for my second order of business. The 90%, I have a feeling that a lot of you don't follow me on Twitter. Follow Marshmallow on Twitter. That's FOULMARSHMALLOW. That's foul with a U, not a W. That's one of my other 7 accounts, though. Now that I have given you directions to my Twitter and performed one of my classy shameless plugs, tell me what you think of my voicemails. I know most people like them, but it's really something else to hear it. Positive feedback is the reason I can be an idiot in voicemails and not want to go hang myself afterwards. The whole reason I bring up this issue is because in Polly Walnut's Pokemon stream, someone had heard my voicemails, but I didn't even know they existed. It's kind of refreshing. Usually it's the other way around. Paul, Nate, don't think I've forgotten about you. My question is, of the people who listen to the podcast both here and not here, what 3 listeners do you think are most likely to be a robot, an alien, and a government spy? I think Volusian is the government spy and has probably had some special training. I'll see you at the stream.
So what 3 members that listen to the podcast, either off air, or live, is an alien, a robot, and a government spy?
Oh, okay. I just heard robot, so I wasn't sure what the full question was.
That Volusian is probably a government spy. And that's probably correct, especially in regards to a voicemail we got from him coming up.
Okay. I guess I'll second that. Based on little information. Just kind of Twitter behaviors.
I am not a robot. Marina and the Diamonds. iTunes. I think they're on iTunes. Anyways, robot. The robot is probably Marshmallow. It just makes sense as to why he likes Gundam so much and why he can...
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, it's kind of just to go to the most talkative listeners, but do you think Meowth's probably the alien, just with this Space Dandy fascination? That's probably the only real reason, right? Because it resembles, everyday reality. That's why.
No? Probably.
Okay.
See that? Because she is named after a cat that talks. Mm-hmm. Just saying. And Marshmallow is definitely the robot because I don't know anybody else that can say 20 words in 1 second. So,
we're seeing who else is in the chat here that we could ascribe strange, different characteristics to. But yeah, I don't know.
I think Foxy is just a fox.
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe an alien fox, but no, probably just a fox.
Okay. Hebrew Lantern?
A Jew.
Ooh, South Park jokes.
Jews aren't
class. It's a class in there, so, it's not offensive.
It's the Paladin class, which is my favorite class in everything.
Oh, did you play as a Jew?
I didn't, because I didn't realize it was actually the Paladin class. I thought it was just like a throwaway joke sort of thing, and I was pissed off when I realized that that's what it was.
Ah, okay. I guess there's specific achievements for it, too, so... Mm-hmm. Why would we call it... Anyway, okay. Racial slurs. We don't
do not read that.
Yeah,
okay.
I won't. Because then there'll be a bad audio clip out there. So, yeah.
Next voicemail from Marshmallow. Here we go.
Hey Paul, hey Nate, I have Asperger's. It bothers me how Asperger's sounds like ass-burgers. I guess I'll talk about Asperger's since it is almost Friday and I haven't come up with anything more interesting or funny to talk about. I had a fucked up childhood that I couldn't explain in 9 million seconds, let alone 90. I'll just talk about certain parts and basic stuff. I was diagnosed with Asperger's in 2nd grade, so I've known that I've had it for almost 3/4 of my life, since I'm 20 now. If you don't know what the symptoms of Asperger's are, there's a website called Google that was made with you in mind. Anyway, I remember when I was younger, I always hoped there would be some miracle cure for Asperger's because I wanted it to fit in and be what I thought everyone else was, normal. You know what I have realized, though? I don't want to be normal. What I perceived as normal, I now perceive as boring. I don't even think there is a normal anymore. Ask someone you think is normal 9 swords they would wield if they were Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy V. They can't do it. Only weird people are concerned with pop culture swords and gilmish. It's a weird fucking question. Bottom line is, normal is boring, fitting in is overrated because most people are idiots, weird and unique is best, and if I did take an Asperger cure, I would not be me anymore. I don't want the cure. My question is, what pop culture characters do you think have the best and worst facial hair? FYI, normal people aren't concerned with daggers or knives either. I'll see you at the stream.
Okay, so the Asperger's thing. My brother is diagnosed with it. Not my youngest, but the one right under me, 4 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't diagnosed with it until he was about 12 or 14, somewhere in there, 12 to 14. And I think when he was diagnosed with it, it helped clear a lot of things out of his head. It was kind of like a, why am I not like other people sort of thing. And then when you can actually be like, no, you are like other people. It's just that these other people have a social condition sort of thing where they act a different way than the mass sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of it was comforting for him to know that he was part of a group still, and he wasn't just the only person in the world with it. So I don't know. I do get the Asperger's thing quite a bit, and yes, I make the joke all the time about ass burgers, but that is a personal...
I almost hesitate saying it because it always sounds like that. Is it more like asp, like the snake burgers?
That's exactly how it is. It's ASPBERGERS, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a whole lot of people I know, and that we know actually through the internet and stuff, have been diagnosed with it, and quite frankly, they're completely normal people. It's just that they seem to know a lot about certain stuff that they're into. There was a while there where I thought that you might have Asperger's.
Okay.
The way you would talk about stuff was very much in that respect, where it's you have to know everything about something you're into, and that is very basic Asperger's thing. That
okay.
That's why Marshmallow, when he's into Gundam, he knows everything about Gundam. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I've always kind of admired that aspect where people can be so into something that they know everything about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's no line of distinction drawn in the sand for me. People are people. And
I'm maybe a little intrigued by this one symptom, which is repetitive interests, just watching and rewatching things. I've been doing that since I was a kid, so I don't know.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. But there is this website called Google where you can learn things, so I guess I can read more about it.
But I do agree with the sentiment that normal people or whatever, whatever you perceived as normal when you were growing up, is just kind of boring, because I think the most fun I've ever had in my life was when I stopped trying to feel like I should be normal and just started being myself and doing things I wanted to do instead of what would be the fun or cool thing to do. So I think he's probably onto something there. But yeah, as for your other question, which icon or popular culture person has the worst facial hair?
Was that okay? I didn't hear that in there, but okay. Which pop culture person has the worst facial hair?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm trying to think of is it someone who just keeps rocking a beard but just can't pull it off or something? It's just no, stop it.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of some right now. Anytime I see Donnie Darko with a beard is usually kind of weird, but that's not the worst facial hair. It's just kind of a weird...
Oh, like Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
He kind of does have a beard in Enemy, that movie I was way into, so...
Yeah.
It can work. Not super long kind of thing, but man.
The worst facial hair.
I mean, Logan Lerman in Noah had kind of a spotty mustache and stuff going on at the end of that movie, but that was very much kind of intentional, coming of age kind of thing. It wasn't supposed to look awesome, so
I don't think there's any, but I honestly can't think of anybody that just has the worst face. Oh, what's his name?
Hulk Hogan.
No, not him, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, brother.
Yep.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about facial hair, like maybe anytime they try to put facial hair on Final Fantasy characters, because it always just looks like an effeminate gay male with like a goatee or something.
Okay, I just typed in Final Fantasy beard.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, some of these aren't very good. Oh man, what is happening here? Yeah, okay. So square characters, just as like a blanket thing. That's not really a pop culture person. But yeah, no, so Final Fantasy character designs can't pull off facial hair. I will second this motion based on this image
pretty
search.
Much. Like, does that count? I think that should probably count, right? Because that's kind of like we're going one step above and not just saying, well, this one character. We're saying this whole slew of anything Square does basically with facial hair is kind of the worst.
Yeah, I'll allow that for sure. Man, I don't know. Yeah, there's no one really coming to mind. Is just like that's terrible. Don't do that. So, yeah, I guess no one lasts that long in the entertainment business if they can't do facial hair, I guess.
One of my friends that I used to work with like 7 years ago, I remember one time he had this badass like huge beard, and he shaved it one day, and then he shaved it into this like weird looking handlebar mustache that went down to like his neck sort of thing. That was probably the worst facial hair I've ever seen, because on him it looked absolutely fucking terrible. But like other than that, I don't know.
No, dude, Nick Cage's mustache in Raising Arizona is fine. So.
Nick Cage's mustache is probably is fine, but him with a beard is pretty weird.
That picture of him from that new movie Joe, I thought just looked really rad. So I might disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Anybody that has a Hitler is kind of shitty.
Yeah,
I've always hated
Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, fuck Charlie Chaplin, kind of. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's almost worse than Keifer Sutherland. Almost.
Ooh, not quite. Keifer Sutherland ever rocked like a giant beard? Can he pull it off? Let's see.
You know what? He probably could, honestly. I'm gonna go ahead and say Hitler.
Okay.
And like Square Enix.
Square Enix and Hitler.
Michael Jordan's Hitler stash was really bad too. Now that I remember.
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan had, it wasn't like a Hitler stash necessarily, but it was like a little tuft of hair under his nose. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. Now that I'm looking at it. Okay. Michael Jordan's weird little mustache. No good.
That counts, right?
Yep. We'll count that too. There you go. You had some better examples. I don't think about it that much, apparently.
See, I'm kind of pulling these from the chat though. They seem to know more about this stuff than I ever want to know, if we're going to be honest here.
Why are pictures of just Nick Cage hanging around so prevalent? Like, this is just kind of sad.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. All right.
I have no idea. Next voicemail?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Actually, I'm just going to check on something quickly and see if maybe I can fix the problem you're having. But can you think of anybody else? I feel bad for Charlie Chaplin. He knew what he was getting into when he was trying to rock the Hitler. He's fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, The Great Dictator, that was like a parody about Hitler. So that's fair to do, right? It's not wrong. Now I'm thinking, has Jerry Seinfeld ever tried to grow a beard? Because I bet that would look weird.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay, Jerry Seinfeld beard. Has that ever happened? Nope. See?
It hasn't, huh?
No, and there's probably a reason. There's a mustache in this one episode, but that was...
Okay. How did that go for him?
It looks kind of ridiculous and exaggerated in a way that, it's a comedy show. Yeah, no. I bet maybe he wouldn't look great with based on this.
Let's flip it quickly.
Okay, who has great facial hair?
That looks terrible or would look terrible without their facial hair. Because Kevin Smith without facial hair looks weird. He looks like a turtle or something that just crawled out of his shell for the first time.
So like fresh-faced Kevin Smith.
It's weird.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I did. There are a few pictures that exist, and yeah, it's a little strange. I guess you're always so used to seeing it that it's just part of who he is now. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking Tom Selleck when he shaves a stash. He looks weird.
Tom Selleck minus stash.
George Lucas, yes, without a beard, looks fucking weird.
Like young George Lucas? Oh no, he had a stash and stuff then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know if I've ever seen him without it now that you mention it. Without beard.
Yeah.
Meh. I don't know. The eyebrows are pretty defined, so they kind of make it work. Doesn't look that crazy.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that's all I can really think of. Like, the Kevin Smith one is huge. That, like, when he shaves, or, like, the few times he's ever shaved, he looks fucking weird. But, yeah. Oh! For people that don't rock facial hair very well, I've always hated every time Jason Mewes has done facial hair. It's always looked bad, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's because his face is too sharp, maybe, to, like, be covered up with hair or something. I have no freaking idea. But he always grows a weird, like, rat stash or, like, some gross sort of thing. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to the next voicemail. You ready? You ready for this?
I am ready.
Okay. This is one Vel sent, and I think this might be the first one he's ever sent us. So, let's go ahead and listen to this.
Hello, gentlemen. The Foreign Service regrets to inform you that your identities have been divulged to enemy operatives as field agents. We have apprehended the informant, and we apologize for the inconvenience. However, these operatives have already placed explosive devices around your residence. The Foreign Service has provided you with a rucksack of supplies, including rations and water. We have also left an empty, standard-sized duffel bag for your personal possessions. Choose what you take wisely. You have 5 minutes until the devices detonate. We will contact you again shortly.
Shit, man. 5 minutes. We have we have rations and water in a rucksack.
Okay. That one was weirdly inaudible past a certain point, too, so I don't know what happened.
We have a bag that we can fill with our possessions. We have 5 minutes. Grab my cat. I grab a blanket. A quick change of clothes. And my Haunter Pokemon plushie.
Your Haunter Pokemon? Okay.
Then I'm probably set.
Sorry, what's the scenario? We have 5 minutes before our house explodes. We need to gather some stuff and get out.
Get the fuck out.
Oh no. The computer? Probably?
Yeah, because
you have all sorts of digital data on there and stuff.
Yeah.
Photo albums? Are those important? Okay. My journal stuff, I'd probably grab that. That's small enough and kind of right here. So yeah, I'd grab my journal, the thing of family DVDs, the computer, and I think that's kind of it, probably. I'm trying to think if there's any, like, precious thing that is irreplaceable. Like, you know, posters and whatever. That's not that big a deal. Yeah, that's kind of a rough scenario, but those are the things that spring to mind as stuff that I probably would regret not having. after the fact. That's not replaceable. So, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Hilarious answer, I know. I don't know. What do you want?
I don't think
the
it
condoms
was
and the lube.
hilarious.
That's all we need. That's all we need. Da-da-da. Sex. My new pajamas. They're great.
Sex.
Yeah. There's a thing of cashews over there. I bet those would be pretty tasty. Yeah, no, probably honestly, like, yeah, writings. Nathan's terrible. He's thinking too slowly. You have 5 minutes. Oh, that's right. I guess. Oh, it exploded. We're just thinking about what I'd grab.
Did you say, like, a change of clothes?
No.
You're such a piece of shit. You're so gross.
I probably should have thought about that. Like, just grab a sack, throw a bunch of clothes in there, and then throw the... Actually, just a big garbage bag would be perfect for all this stuff. Just throw stuff in, sack, run outside, and then good to go. So, Chrono Trigger's still on. I haven't saved in a little while. I'll throw that in the sack.
With Vinny talking on, like, podcasts and stuff, I've been thinking about making a bug-out bag. Not because I think we're in danger, but because, like, it might be good to, if something ever happened, to just be able to pick up a bag and walk out of your house and leave forever. Sort of thing.
Yeah. I guess,
who knows?
No, I have thought about that too, but I don't want to get into that weird paranoid. Because, I mean, we were in the States after PAX and, like, just at a Walmart or something, and they're, like, weird about their apocalypse readiness kind of stuff. Like, there was, like, food buckets and, like, just kind of stuff you'd put in a storm shelter kind of things, just kind of in Walmart. And I was like, you guys are a little paranoid. Like, you guys gotta settle down. This is weird to me. So... yeah, that there's a market enough for, like, people storing food in case something goes horrible, that it's, like, enough of it for Walmart to get in on that. That's a little strange.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so... but, yeah, no, just, like, a bag of, like, this is important, maybe basic survival stuff, and also just important things that you'd want to have.
I've been playing the Daisy, and
okay.
I have found out that when... you're stuck in a situation with nothing but the clothes on your back, you're fucked. Like, so, he said in his voicemail, they've given you a rucksack full of rations and water. And those are the big things in DayZ. After that, it's finding clothes or whatever for more pockets and whatnot. And, like, little shit like that. Maybe finding a can opener and stuff like that. That's the type of stuff I might pack. Is, like, the can opener, or like a knife or something, or if I had one in the house, a gun for sure with ammo would be in that bag.
I have
I'm not American, so I don't have an arsenal, unfortunately. I've been thinking about getting my gun license for a while, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I guess that's our answers. Next voicemail.
Okay.
Burt's Bees lip balm keeps your lips smooth. You know what makes me smooth? Think about Krasnor. He's got that Persona 4 arena. Sure like to play him, show him what smooth lips are really like by beating him. Persona 4 arena. Lips are so dry. Giving some of my Burt's Bees their real beeswax. There was one time I was fighting in the African Sahara. These bees were stinging me. I tried to do false defense, to jump into 2B to launch her. It didn't work because they're not people. They're fucking bees. Anyway, the question: have you ever played a game where you wanted the secondary character to be the protagonist instead of the protagonist? I'm sorry, I screwed up there a little bit. That's the question. Because when I played Persona 4, I thought to myself, wow, this is really stupid. Then this silver-haired, stupid motherfucker gets all the girls. And I'm not even trying. Just reading the strategy guide. It says, in order to get this vagina wetter, you have to, in order to moisten it, and all the beeswax lip balm though. It's not for those that forget my meaning. So, what'd you think? What? Secondary character. Would you want it to be the protagonist? The protagonist. Is that pop?
Okay, wait. Okay. Was that playing back like in a very kind of start-stop way, or was he speaking in kind of like 2 syllables at a time?
He was speaking in that way. Okay.
Did you ever play Persona 4 Arena? Like, was it like that?
Okay. So, I have who sent it, and it makes sense to me now.
Okay.
So, who sent it is a guy named Carlos.
Okay.
Handsome Fat Man, aka Specs, aka 1,000 different aliases online.
Yeah.
On YouTube, he's Axelhander. But that dude does this weird persona in videos. Like, there's a thing called Burt's Beeswax or something for lip balm or something like that.
Yeah, no, we used to sell it at Shoppers Drug Mart when I worked there.
Yeah, so he does videos where it's just that label as the picture, and he does that voice as Bert, sort of thing, talking about weird shit.
Okay.
So that's why he was talking like that.
Gotcha.
And then he was talking about making vaginas wet and using Burt's Beeswax for it or something. I have no idea. But his main question was, have you ever played a game where you wish the secondary character was the protagonist of the video game? The first thing that comes to mind right away is Final Fantasy X, because the HD collection came back out. I wish Auron was the main character.
That's the one that came to mind too. That he defines secondary character who's way cooler than the main character. He's got a scar across his eye.
Oh,
he's got a giant sword that he holds in this kind of way that lets you know it's heavy. It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's go to a series we both love. Metal Gear Solid 2. I wish you played as Snake Plissken, aka Snake.
Like the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I've gotten really used to that game, just the way it flows, and
I agree with you.
Kind of an important secondary character.
I'm not complaining at all about him.
Yeah,
like Raiden, but I am saying I would rather play Snake in that game because Snake, and because Snake. One of my favorite assets about Snake at this point is that Keifer Sutherland did not voice him in that game, so that is a huge plus to me. So,
okay. So you're like, Snake Plissken, really awesome compared to Solid or Big Boss nowadays. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, I'm trying to think. I mean, it seems to be a lot of times in RPGs, even in Chrono Trigger, people like Frog a whole lot. So, he's a contender for that.
I think the thing that makes that difference, though, is that when you're playing as Chrono, the reason why you're playing as Chrono is because he's the silent protagonist and everyone else is actually the protagonist. He's just the avatar for you to do stuff.
That's you in the game. So
the problem with Titus, or Titus, however you want to pronounce his name, in Final Fantasy X is that he was not silent protagonist. He was a character that you controlled, and he was far worse than any other. I would have liked to play as Lulu, because one thing, she's magical. Second thing, she holds a Moogle as her main thing. Third, she has nice tits.
Yeah, I was going to say hot, so you missed that one.
I didn't miss that. That was pretty far up there.
Yeah.
But Moogles, man. You gotta hold a Moogle.
Little Moogie plus.
I'm holding a Haunter right now.
Yeah.
It's a source of my podcasting magic.
Weirdly, it is RPGs that seem to have this happen a lot. I think it's Kratos in Tales of Symphonia. He's cool. He's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of Square Step. I said Vincent Valentine, but then they decided to grant that wish and make a game centered around that dude. And I didn't play a lot of Dirge Cerberus, so
it's not that good.
Yeah. So it doesn't, always. Oh, the character, that was the problem. Not that there was an inherent problem with Final Fantasy VII. It's just, different characters. Sometimes you get a little envious of that. I guess, when it's kind of the game just arbitrarily assigns you a role, and it's just why am I this guy when I could just as easily be playing as this guy? He's with me the whole time anyway. Why was that decision made? In the case of Final Fantasy X specifically, that seems especially arbitrary. Would you rather play as Wakka? What was his Wakka?
I'd rather play as Titus.
Than Wakka? Okay.
Wakka's Matt LeBlanc.
What?
He looks like Matt LeBlanc.
Oh, okay, but I think he's voiced by John DiMaggio.
He is. No, you're completely right.
Yeah.
But every time I see him, I see Joey from Friends. So
there you go. I'm trying to think if there's any other really noteworthy examples. Just in Yoshi's Island, I kind of wish I was just playing as Yoshi without no baby. Does that count?
Yeah.
Get that baby out of here.
Every time I'm playing a Mario game, I'm kind of wishing I was playing anybody else.
Playing a Zelda game, why can't you just be Zelda? Why didn't anyone ever think of that?
You know what? I actually agree with you. I think Zelda would be great. But, I mean, again, it's the same thing. Link's silent protagonist. He's the avatar for you to control in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Did you play? You played Skyward Sword, right?
No.
Okay. Just
I don't
Zelda
own it.
in that one is kind of tough and interesting in a way where she could actually have been a character that, because she kind of goes to different temples and stuff and does her own thing for a good chunk of that story. But yeah, I don't know. That game is pretty cool.
I feel like I'm missing something.
Like there's a super obvious one. It's
yeah.
Like, it's like Shepard. Why weren't you just playing as like who's that guy?
The pro kit.
Krogans?
He's kind of the the Shepards are kind of the protagonists you create, though.
Yeah.
For the world. So you're essentially playing yourself.
Why aren't I playing as Cartman? I want to play as Cartman. It's like, no, you get to be in South Park and hang out with them all. You don't have to be the guy. So
no, I'm actually sticking with my first answer. I would rather play as Auron than Tidus.
Yep. That's the correct answer, apparently, because it was the first one that came to my mind, too. So there you have it.
Yeah.
What if they remade that game with a way cooler change gaming? Square would still be on top.
Everything about him was just cool, because even like when you finished a battle and he would be the one to say something, his like victory thing was like
dude, okay, so a little bit of honesty, transparency time. For a long time, and like I was saying, JRPGs was kind of what ruled my junior high brain. I would wear my coat over my one shoulder and kind of have my hand in it. In that way, he did with like the kind of sling. You know how he always had his one arm was kind of a little weaker.
Isn't that a Ronin thing?
I don't know.
Something that Ronin did, like feudal Japanese thing.
Where I got it from was Final Fantasy X. I was like, man, that guy's so cool. And then I'd have my coat kind of draped over my arm, and in my head, I was like, I'm Auron right now. It's awesome.
Also, Final Fantasy X2 was centered around Yuna, Pain, and what's her name?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Riku?
Riku. Yeah. It was primarily centered around Yuna, though. But Donkey Kong Country 3, play as Donkey Kong. I'm going to take that one step further. Donkey Kong Country 3, play as anybody fucking else than that fucking baby. Which you could. You could play as Dixie, which is still not great. But when it comes to the Kongs, fuck the baby. I mean, you don't ever fuck the baby.
Yeah,
but
this isn't a Serbian film. Like, come on.
Right.
Take the brakes on that.
Right.
I heard about that scene. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway,
next voicemail. Here we go.
Next.
I was watching The Wire today, and I've been thinking about it recently with Nathan talking about The Sopranos, because binge watching the seasons of Sopranos with my dad back when it was coming out is what eventually led us into watching The Wire. And while I do really love the early seasons of The Sopranos, and have a stronger connection to them than I might, since I'm from Jersey City, and I recognize a lot of the locations they use, The Wire is my favorite show ever. And to anyone who's never seen it, I would strongly recommend just watching like at least the very first scene. It's a show about the fall of empire and the tragedy of people who try to make a difference in it. But the very first scene is about this kid named Snot Boogie who just couldn't help himself. It's funny and tragic and it sets a great tone. My question for you guys is, what's your favorite opening scene from a TV show or movie, or the very first moments of a video game you've played?
Favorite opening scene from a TV show or movie or a video game we've played? Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the most of that question. The Wire favorite show ever, and then I couldn't really hear the explanation as to why. But
so
can you kind of reiterate maybe, or?
I'll let you listen to it after. Because of it's kind of on my mind.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X. I like the opening where it's just like, it's just a normal day, gonna go play some blitzball. Oh fuck! I like that a lot because for one thing, Otherworld is a great song, where it's just like a growly death metal song in a Final Fantasy game, and they're like playing their blitzball sort of thing. Then he does like his stupid fucking kick. And he just, like, looks up, and he's just like, oh shit, and then city destroyed, game starts. Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Opening
scene of a game or just show, did you say?
Oh, any.
Oh, okay. Kind of like you know me, Serious Man. I kind of liked how that started.
Okay. Yeah.
With the Dybbuk story. Like, it's just kind of this weird horror thing that happens, and it's like, what does this have to do? And then it just cuts to 60s, and there's this math professor. Like, it's just weird. Like, I've been trying to, like, narratively connect it. Like, is it, like, foreshadowing thing? Is it, like, some sort of weird, just, like, ominous tone setting? Like, what is this function? But I love it, whatever it is. It's really weird. Man, I'm trying to think if there's kind of some other stuff where it's just grabs your attention right away.
Back in the day, Resident Evil definitely grabbed your attention because it was a cutscene where it's just like they're running away from this pack of dogs that's wanting to rip them apart and ripped apart their helicopter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just like a cold open into this is the game now sort of thing.
I mean, for TV show, like, I like the theme song stuff in Sopranos. I don't remember what the very opening shot was. I think it was probably him in therapy or something, which isn't like, oh, James Gandolfini sitting in a chair. It's so amazing. It's like, whatever. But the theme song is still fun to watch. Like, I just let it play every time I watch an episode. I don't skip it because it's just fun to see.
Hebrew Lantern in the chat saying the opening cinematic of Pokemon Blue. What that made me remember that I actually enjoyed a lot, more so than the actual series, was the opening of the very first episode of the Pokemon anime. And what I really liked about that was how it was like the little battle scene that happens on the original Pokemon Red and Blue sort of thing, with the like music and whatever, and the Pokemon bouncing back and forth, and then it goes into animation sort of thing, and then it's like a Pokemon battle on the television. I've really liked that. I've always liked how they did that.
I'm putting in the chat the opening to Super Mario RPG. I really liked.
Okay.
It's just like the kind of trailer music introducing characters and stuff, but I love it. It's just a cool song, and yeah, I don't know. That is just a fun little opening thing. I guess this kind of came up as a Reddit question, like a favorite opening scene from a movie or whatever. And it was this weird thing where it's like the first one that came to my mind was Inglourious Basterds, which was the most upvoted one. But then I felt bad because I was like, the film snob in me should have said 2001: A Space Odyssey. So there's a weird elitist crisis I had. But I do like that opening scene in Inglourious Basterds too, with Christoph Waltz in the pipe. It's pretty good. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
It's him talking to that French farmer, and then there's dudes hidden under the floorboards and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It just is a cool way to introduce that character, and you kind of get a sense of what he's all about over the course of like that one conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. But the 2001 thing with the, Dawn of Man, all that stuff, pretty iconic business. And that movie I like more and more as I see it subsequently. And seeing it in big screen was definitely where that movie belongs. So that was kind of a pretty awesome experience last time I saw it. So I'll say that one as well. For TV shows, though, especially, like, the first opening shots of a show, like, typically the pilot episode isn't, the best episode of that show. Like, they're still figuring things out, getting cast chemistry and all that. Like, the one I can think of is maybe Twin Peaks, but it's not the first shot. But it's when Jack Nance discovers the body. Like, that's pretty awesome stuff. But I think the first shot isn't that. It's actually, like, just him getting some coffee and getting ready to go fishing or something, which isn't quite the same.
Yeah.
That show's great, though. In some of it is great. The first season is great, and parts of the second season. Anyway, yeah.
The opening theme to Attack on Titan.
The first half.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean.
Of course. The real opening theme.
Yeah.
Not that other thing.
Because, like, it doesn't even matter what's going to happen in the episode. You're already ready to go when that theme's done.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that theme I actually play sometimes in my headphones when I'm like playing Diablo or something, like random games, to make it seem to have that much more gravitas to it, right? Where it's like, no, this is an epic thing happening right now. That's how good that intro theme is.
The Jaeger. Yeah, it's quite something.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably good, right? Should we go on the next one? There we go.
Next one.
Nathan, I don't know if you've played any more Danganronpa yet, but having played it all the way through and having listened to you talk about what you love about the Zero Escape games, I could tell that Danganronpa was at least initially frustrate you. And I didn't even think about it from the setup point of view, but it's almost a completely linear game, and is way more in common with a Phoenix Wright game with social links. And while I do recommend it, you have to go in with a different attitude. So I thought I'd also recommend a different game that does do branching pathways in the sort of the way you've talked about them, although I would take issue with you describing its difference between Eastern and Western development, since straight linear stories are such a big thing in Japan. And the game I'd recommend is Radiant Historia for the DS. It's a game where you have the ability to travel along your own history from gates that open at key moments, mostly traveling on 2 major timelines. One where you're an intelligence officer, and the other where you join the regular army. And there are a lot of smaller branches within those major timelines that all stem from decisions you make, and the game will always at least let you know how it turns out. And the side quests are all about things that make the game encourage you to see everything it has to offer. The gameplay is kind of a traditional turn-based with 3-person party RPG, turn-based combat, but your attacks are all based on enemy positioning along a 3x3 grid, which at least makes it fresh. It's a good game.
Okay, I heard the first part about Danganronpa is more of a just linear story game, more like a Phoenix Wright or something, so adjust expectations accordingly. And then he took some issue with my East versus West, like East does it like this and West doesn't, which isn't not exactly what I don't know. Zero Escape's better than Telltale's entire catalog. That's all I was really saying.
I haven't even played it, and I agree, probably.
Yeah.
So
that's all I really was, I guess, should ultimately say more specific. It just sounds mean when you say it's specific like that. You're just like, these guys aren't as good as these other guys, but I guess I'll just be more clear about it so I'm not disparaging a whole group of people. What was the game he recommended, though? Radiant Story?
Radiant Historia or something?
Radiant Historia? Okay.
Is that it? I actually didn't hear it very well either, that part.
Radiant Historia is a role-playing game on DS,
okay.
So that sounds right.
So maybe you'll look into that then.
Role-playing game published by Atlas. Atlas staff work on Tensei, Persona 3. Okay, that's interesting. Time travel's in it, so that's already a Zero Escape-esque thing. Okay, I'll look into this game. I've not known much about it at all, but okay. Single player game. That's my favorite kind. So, cool.
It's because you're a loner. A lone wolf.
Exactly.
I'm
sorry I missed a lot of that question. I wasn't able to hear it, so it's doing that weird thing where it wanders away partway through again. So, Skype has updated since last week, so maybe it's something weird with that. I don't know. But anything later in that question was there a specific question stuff, or
he describes what's good about it and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't able to hear that, but cool. I will look into it. And yeah, sorry to make that more of a general disparagement of a certain kind of writing in a whole region. I really just meant Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 2 was garbage compared to Virtue's Last Reward. That's all.
See, you are racist. Hate speech.
Exactly. Virtue's Last Reward is so much better. And not that they're comparable, because it's an entire game versus an episode of a thing, but whatever. I played them the same week, so that's why that happened.
Ready for the last one?
Yep.
Okay, I'll see if I can cater it to you better. Here we go.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to tell you about 5 horrible movies I've watched on Netflix last year. And I want you to, based on these summaries, I want you to tell me which one do you think would be the worst, which one do you think would piss you off the most? There's Switchmas. It's a Prince and the Pauper-like story about a Jewish kid obsessed with Christmas who switches places with a kid who gets dumber as the movie goes along to the point of being mentally handicapped, and he was on his way to Christmas Town. The main kid is immensely punchable. The movie is amazingly anti-Semitic with its reliance on Jewish stereotyping. Also, Elliot Gould is in it for some reason. There's Guardians of the Lost Code, generic animated kids get magical animals movie, and it was made in Mexico. It goes for the humans stopped believing in magic trope, and the English version has possibly the worst voice acting I've ever heard. Space Dogs, Russian CG movie about the first animals to survive orbital trip. I remember it was awful, but at this point, every aspect about it has escaped my memory. Disco Worms uses a world about worms and bugs to tell a story about white people overcoming racism. Awful CG animation. The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars. Stupider than you expect an animated movie about personified appliances going to Mars to rescue a baby. Horrendous songs, and the moral of the story is all about how great it is to be a slave.
Okay. How did that go?
That was still pretty choppy. But
you should hear all of it, though.
Not
yes?
audible. No.
Really?
Yeah,
right.
Sorry. But I have the titles. I've heard kind of a little bits here and there of some of the descriptions. Guardians of the Last Cove sounded maybe the most boring. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I like, honestly, it's just kind of like, Trainwreck Bad is at least interesting. So, like, it can be funny in spite of the movie kind of thing, whereas that just sounded like I would find that the most tedious. Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, though, is probably the one that would piss me off the most, because a substandard sequel to something I care about sounds bad. So, yeah. That's kind of my read on it. But, again, I'm sorry I couldn't hear as well as I would like to make an informed read on this whole thing.
Informed read?
Yeah, an informed...
They all sound bad.
Yeah. Switchmas. That title.
Switchmas.
Space Dog sounds kind of like that should be entertaining or funny. But I guess I tried to watch Space Chimps, which was pretty terrible. Remember that movie? It was like an animated movie.
Like the same thing, probably.
It was like Andy Samberg was the voice of the goofy one, and yeah, it was pretty low quality. So yeah, that was an animated movie. What about you? What is your take on these movies? You could hear it, so.
I don't know. They all sound bad, but Brave Little Toaster might take it for me.
Because worst and piss off, or what?
Because I love the first one so much.
Yeah.
That, from what it sounds like, is just absolutely terrible and just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And kind of weird.
That seems more fantastical than it should be. Like, in that one, it's just like a bunch of appliances try to find their owner and end up in like junkyards and like, you know, places appliances might go. Like, we're going to Mars just sounds zany, like in a stupid way. Like, how would that even happen?
Yeah.
I don't even think they get in a space shuttle or something, if I recall from like the box art. It's just them kind of like flying through the sky in like a shopping cart or something. Like, it's like that doesn't make any sense. But yeah. Brave Little Toaster. There you go. Sorry that got choppy and weird at the end there, but that's just what happened. Technical difficulties. We'd have the little kind of graphic of the guy shrugging, and there's like a broken toaster or something. That would be technical difficulties. Broken toaster. Yeah, because, you know, that movie.
Brave Little Toaster, yeah.
Brave Little Toaster in stores now.
You just, like, smashed the toaster, and somehow that's the technical difficulties with internet video and sound, I guess. Why not? That's how we put everything together.
Emailing us, apparently. Or, well, voicemailing. And Brave Little Toaster was the correct answer, so we did it. We were right.
Oh, that was him. Okay, yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything from him before, so thank you very much for everybody sending your stuff in. And it's always nice to hear a few new voices on there. And if anybody else listening to this afterwards or in the chat right now ever wanted to do so.
Got a question or comment for the show? You can email us at podcast@pixelresponse.com or leave a voicemail using the voicemail feature on the right side of the main page. On Twitter, you can reach Nathan at Krasnor and Paul at Exposure. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thepixelresponse and visit pixelresponse.com for more.
That's something you won't hear in the post-production. Congratulations, guys. You did it.
Mm-hmm.
You made
Editing.
it. All the problems that we had here, you will probably not hear unless I get super lazy. But hashtag Krashole. I think that has to be the new thing. What was Murphy? What Pokemon was Murphy?
Sentret.
It was a Sentret?
Yeah.
Okay, because I am probably going to design another shirt that says Murphy Hype.
Okay. And put a Sentret on it, or like ears or something to let you know.
Yeah.
Murphy Hype. Great.
Look for that coming soon, I guess.
Okay. Thanks for the mug. It's awesome. Get yours today.